Folks, what's up? Oh my goodness, this is a very special show. Just so you know, being Asian American, a lot of times I don't get to carry my own issues because the fact of the matter that most people can't relate or don't really understand them. Today I have a very special guest named decolonial vietspectrum. You can find that on the Instagram. And I'm going to let her introduce herself, but I'm very, very excited about this interview. Go ahead.
Thanks. So yeah, I'm a proud kind of patriotic person from Berlin, Berlin, Germany, and that's why I just arrived to the US, and I have a lot of things. Like I came from like a refugee movement and a lot of different kind of community spaces in Europe or in Germany particularly, and I just arrived to the US, so I'm so sorry if I don't know all the common movements here. So I can be extremely like not knowing anything about the US, because we are so fighting on the street, like in life every second as minority in Germany so much. And they like we cannot even walk free in that sense because everything's extremely controlled. So that's why we have to be with our mind locally present there. So that's why it's sometimes very difficult to get really an overview or an understanding or connection, really, especially when you're from working class. Yeah, so just to give Leo a little,
Well,
little.
just so you know, Americans are quite famous for not knowing what's going on in other countries, not knowing even like where other countries are located. So I think I probably win that war of ignorance, right? So don't worry about it.
No, I don't. I saw this. I thought the same thing. Like I thought the same thing. Like because when I arrived as Vietnamese diaspora from Germany, in the US, I was called, especially from black and brown community activists or femme activists, neo-colonial settler, and because I'm from Germany, right? And I'm like, oh my god, what's going on? Like, why like Asians have such a weird position here? And I understand now, even though you don't know things outside, the access to going outside is or to look outside is almost impossible. Like you don't even have like things in the school system. Like I mean, I was like, wow, US, like we in Germany for minorities, we are like so backwards. Like we are so stone age, in a stone age, because we just use like recently use terms like BIPOC. You don't even, some of you don't even use it anymore, like black, indigenous, brown, black, indigenous, and people of color, right? Like these terms we just recently can claim it as our identity. Not even everyone, it's a recent movement, like just very few years ago, like few, I say maybe 3 or 4, right? Like even like at the web, we don't even have like real especially in Germany or Berlin and stuff, like radical black tradition studies, or like really from the people, from the communities. We don't have it. We have everything like very white controlled in that sense, and academic whitewash in academia and whatever. So yeah, I have to mention I'm autistic. That's why it's like very sometimes difficult to like autism with ADHD, so it's ADHD, and I can be very confusing. So that's my communication style, and it's new to me. So yeah, you just can jump in, and
I
yeah.
recognize a lot of my own behaviors. Maybe I also have ADHD and autism. It's possible because when you know the way that you're cutting across things, but I can actually make sense of it, and it I appreciate it. So don't worry about it. I'm work with a lot of traumatized communities. I work with a lot of people with disabilities, and really, you're doing quite well. I have no problem with it. And to tell you the truth, sometimes there's cultural differences, or sometimes there's other differences that take place with just normies, I guess you could say, and that can be even more frustrating. So your actual open-mindedness and willing to have a real actual conversation, I find that much more productive and able to get somewhere, and I really appreciate it. So
Yeah, just for advocacy in disability movements, or like for autism and ADHD and stuff, I say it with proudness, like that. Hey, I just want always to state it was so difficult to get to the point just to kind of separate myself from the crowd in that sense, because you said it even, like maybe you have it too, you can identify some things. Yes, we have to understand sometimes when like we have no access to, like, especially Black and brown communities, we don't have access to getting even identified as with our disabilities, right? Like to get even the treatment, like to get the diagnosis and stuff is extreme, especially in the US, extremely expensive. It takes a lot of time, and I had to go to like almost 50 psychologists and stuff. I had to because I had an interview with each of them to kind of tackle down where I could fit, and it was a very traumatizing way because white Germans, psychologists and stuff. So I mean, the point is, like, I had a backup with like professors, autistic professors, BIPOC autistic professors, right? That they can, like, to have with them a kind of by accident a conversation in some activist movements, or they organize like some workshops for climate activism, racism activism stuff. And this was like, this things happens just recently, like, because just okay, now the resources will be cut because the right wing is like raising. The same for Trump legacy, like policy here right now, with, you know what it means when the right is like on the rise politically, economically, all the things will be cut, and then less money means like less
We'll see about that. That's the
okay.
common narrative. But just so you know, I believe that the national debt increased under Trump's first term. There's Trump is not perfect, right? But there's definitely no party is perfect. But we're going to talk more about that. But I do actually just going back to the mental health stuff. Just so you know, I actually was in medical school. I actually worked for thousands of hours inside of emergency rooms, and also for a neurologist, which is actually the nerves. So it does incorporate mental issues, as well as pulmonologist, who sees everybody before surgery, right? That's for the lungs. They also take care of asthma. That's very common, COPD, things like that. But the thing is that the mental health stuff, I'm very skeptical of a lot of it. I think that it is often misused, but I do believe that I have seen people with autism. I do know that there is something different, especially autism can be very devastating on people with autistic children. It breaks up a lot of families, and I've actually gotten to meet some people. So I know there is something to it, right? I'm not trying to dismiss it entirely, but I'm very skeptical of the healthcare system in general.
Yeah, that's for sure. That's for sure. Like, I mean, that's why I call, like, I highlight decolonial, always decolonial, because there is a distinguish of, like, I mean, I'm from Germany. Like all the Nazi, like, history, like why psychology had a kind of boom impact and stuff was because they did human experiments, right? They did human experiments, like on like colonial subjects, on victims from the on survivors, on like from the NS regime and stuff.
If
Like,
I could just squeeze in something right quick, have you ever heard of a place called Namibia?
yes, of course.
Okay, so what do you know about that's good because most people don't.
Yeah, it's so crazy.
What
Like,
do you know about Namibia? Good to know. Okay, so tell us what you know about Namibia.
So
I wonder if people in Germany even know. Go ahead.
no, they don't know. So it's
Oh,
like
wow.
they don't know. Many Germans, most of the Germans don't know that Namibia was a colony from Germany, and they did there like a genocide and concentration camps and stuff. And like they even recently, just few years, like it's just very recent, like in a university, they were like 60, like they just were digging, and then they found 16,000 bone fragments from human remains, right? 16,000 fragments for human remains. Like, you have to like, the fragments comes from, like, you know, the torch, like it's human experiments.
Exactly.
So these bone fragments, they are like they could be identified from like the colonial like victims and stuff. And the president of the university, when all the organization from like Romnya and Sintesa communities, like also like people don't know that when even the Holocaust happened with the Jewish people, like, yeah, there's a focus on the Jewish genocide in the sense, but like there were also in that time Black and brown people here too, like and then like Romya and Sintesa, they are also like so all people of color, black and brown people and stuff in that time, they have no really real narrative. It's just like right now people like fighting for the narrative being included in the concentration camps in that sense. So yeah, so the denial was crazy. Like, oh, we didn't know that we are on the grounds of like human rights. Like, what do you mean you don't know as a president from this like university? Because you have to understand that this university, the whole building, it was the headquarter from anthropologies, right? Like you just like, how is it possible that you just like, it's not even like 1-2 decades ago, like it's not even so long ago that you just like think like so having amnesia, like in a sense of like oh, we are actually sitting in a room where the human experiments were made, and then like, oh, and there is a fragment. Like, this is crazy to just having this kind of denial, or like this putting it under the rug, and people, a lot of people also don't know that like some places even with the refugees who came to Germany, they were put in refugee camps, right? And you have also refugee camps, but like some of these refugee camps are just like reused places from concentration camps, right? Like, I mean, it's logically, you have like the buildings and stuff like this. Like, of course, then you can easily like, oh, we have empty buildings somewhere in nowhere, no one is like in contact with. So that's why we can also like where we could kill like the people. Now we just imprison the people and call it refugee camps, and then like get them out of the picture, making in the news naturally like the narrative of like, we are like heroes, we're like white saviors and stuff like this, and help refugees, we let them in, and then winning like a lot of like kind of different kind of project globally to make like more NGOs or help, and there's so much money involved. So Namir is a big thing. They just recently just had one independent kind of like movie or thing in the theater trying to highlight the genocide, or like from the Black community, the perspective and narrative, what actually really happened, but it's just shut down. Like, I mean, it's
so just so you know, the Namibians, their genocide is actually overlooked. And to tell you the truth, and we know in Korea, just so you know, during the Korean War, which happened on the same timeline as Israel-Palestine, they dropped as many bombs. They brought more bombs on Korea than they did in the entire Pacific during World War II. And then in Vietnam, they stepped it up by a factor of multiple times. So they dropped even more bombs on Vietnam, which is crazy. They invented napalm, fire from the sky. A genocide happened in Korea and Vietnam too. You're Vietnamese, by the way. And you know what? This is not really acknowledged by this country, right? We talk about the Vietnam war vets and what they went through, the horrors they experienced. And, you know, coming from being a war survivor, I like to call myself, because all the violence was revisited upon me, right? I had to live without, my parents taught me to be hungry. They taught me to be cold, and I was beat a lot. I mean, they went through incredible violence. I'm sure you did too.
Yeah. Oh my God.
All the chemicals that was all around, right? Is it possible that the autism and the ADD might be also impacted by the large amount of chemicals and lead that was dumped all over Vietnam? Hell yeah, but we not getting help, we not getting addressment. And I'm not saying that Jews haven't suffered, but I'm saying that when they say never forget, y'all forgot about us. It's fucked up.
Like, this is difficult. This is difficult with the Jewish community. People don't really know. People just, it's not a like homogeneous like Jewish community thing. No, they are extremely traumatized too within the Jewish community. Is so like, if you really care about Jewish people, look into the poor Jewish people, like who people from survival and stuff like this, like mainly like, but what happened like to like people in the poor side, like especially poor, and they like, even in Israel, when they claim that they care about like Jewish people, whatever and stuff, like look into to like the survivors and like from the economy, like and from the poor communities, like how much they still suffer and like not getting the care and like the conversation or the need of like healing stuff. They don't have it, and like it's a different. It's just like it's just like different structures that could like people that people had like from I don't know, from class struggle, like structures given, or like like it's just it's very complicated and complex, because I learned, for example, in the NS time, that the Jewish community, or intellectual Jewish, and some they were able to make a school, right? Like they were able to make, in the Nazi time, like a school to preserve like their own culture and language and stuff like this, and the narrative. But it's all like, we have to look into strategies and like the big picture of like how people actually navigate in a place of complete like violence and stuff, right? And I mean, because I don't want to make things black and white or like some groupings and stuff, we have to really understand like the survival consciousness in that sense, how people operate, how they actually try to uplift or whatever. And then because that's the main thing about the Vietnamese people too, for me, or like the Asian communities and stuff. There is something going on, even though when they are like super rich, or then they survived, or when they're super ignorant, whatever. I don't know. I feel like I want, like I try to hold people accountable, like to hold this like accountability to some, but there's like a wrong, I think it's just a wrong approach, because everyone's like kind of so fighting an enemy in their head, in terms of, I don't even know anymore. Like it's just the betrayal within the community, and like, I mean, we're talking about human trafficking, we're talking about like the war itself, when they split and fought each other, and then like the genocide to each other, and without actually their own agenda. It was like some ideology put from outside, right? And like all these like internal real betrayal. And as you said, the violence in the war happened also then within like our own families and stuff. Like, yeah, in my case too, it's the first time I really like can hear it in that sense, how you said it. Was not able to share it in this way, that I have like family members, like my mom and my dad. And my dad was a boat person, refugee. My mom was like more came as guest worker. So I'm not sure if you know.
So you grew up with Vietnamese parents. You weren't adopted or anything.
No, oh my god, I would die if I would adopt. Okay,
there's a lot of Koreans that were adopted. I mean, that's a lot. That's a big thing. So, okay, just good to know. Yeah, I'm gonna ask some other questions about that, but okay, good to know.
Yeah. So like, yeah, and like, I mean, autism is it's from like the genes. So that's, of course, it's in the family, and I'm very sure that my brother and my mother is like autistic, and we not really, like, I cannot really speak the language very well. Language itself is for me like a difficult thing, because yeah.
I do want to ask one more thing though. So when I hear you talk, right, I don't hear a typical German accent. You know, or maybe I'm right, maybe I'm wrong, right? Yeah. Have you ever heard that before? Or maybe in
yes.
different regions of Germany. But
like,
were you raised in international schools? Why don't I hear that typical German accent?
Accent is really funny. I don't like, so from very young age, we like, I was lucky that I had a very like refugee environment with so many different communities, right? And so so how you say it? So we make always a little bit fun of like the Germans, like in the sense of like, yeah, German accent, I cannot speak English and whatever. And so since we are small, we have like English in school, but also we are very aware of like the German accent, that we don't that we can, like, I was just okay, to be honest, I was just to learn the English language, to survive even for my stimming. I listened to a lot of like English songs, so I was almost every day singing Jason Mraz, and okay, it's like just my, and like High School Musical and stuff, and just like, and I think like this way of singing helps me not to having a German accent and stuff. And I was also traveling a lot, because I tried to escape at one point from Germany, because yeah, it got super racist when we had the election of like, should we let refugees in from Syria or not? And then it got super like super hostile in the society, and no one wanted to talk. I tried to talk with everyone in that sense. It was the beginning of my higher education, whatever. And everyone just said like, you are too sensitive. Like they shut me down, and then that's why like I decided to go outside Germany and just like bought a one-way ticket. I think I had like, I don't know, 200, like someone gave me $200, and then I had just $200 in my pocket, and then I had a one-way ticket to Asia, and then like I tried to survive there, and then I got in
That's just
contact with
something you said earlier, right? When they said that you don't really have like a right to complain and stuff like that. I feel like that happens a lot too, because our issues are not acknowledged. People think we've never suffered. They don't think we need help. Is that something that you also experience, or is that just me?
Not in that sense. It's very difficult. The Vietnamese community in Germany, they are like very differently instrumentalized. So I grew up in with newspapers and like weird kind of like narrative of like the Vietnamese people, like, oh, they're the good immigrants, they're like doing very well in school, whatever. Like Vietnam itself is really bad here, human trafficking and the people and the government. So it's like they use it, especially in the West, like when they took the boat people and refugees. Look, you have to understand, boat people, refugees, right? Oh, we saved them, the boat people, right, from the war and stuff. Then we have just like a few decades later, same refugees on a boat people from like West and North Africa, whatever, crossing like the sea and getting into Germany and whatever. They just like decline and not letting them die on the sea, and like and like, and it's just like crazy. That's how like I would very carefully approach this kind of model minority thing, because like if you, especially in Germany, if you deny like this is really complicated, with it's like if you deny like specific privileges as, and you don't understand how we get like really instrumentalized as the Asian position geopolitically and whatever, then it's like that we have to acknowledge the difference of violence, like the criminal, like the criminalization is different. Vietnamese community had also criminalization at one point, but it was resolved somehow a little bit. There was a mafia and like cigarette mafias and stuff. But
Cigarette
like,
mafia, what? Like they're doing black market, like selling cigarettes without taxes or something?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, like on the street, or like some, yeah, but like, so it's different from like, it's a different kind of form of, like, it's a different thing if you just like getting catch, like put it like in the police car, and then you get to release at one point, and you just like find like was not like this kind of, it's a different kind of threat. Like we just were thinking, yeah, I hope, like I grew up with like people on the street and stuff, and my mom was also like selling like some wildflowers on the street, you know, picking up and sitting there somewhere in a train station, and for €1-2 like dollars, like kind of getting that. But like if you're just like being forced to like kind of because you don't get education or work access and whatever, being extremely criminalized, and then like immediately focused and racial profiled as a drug, like, yeah, even when you sell drugs and whatever for the black community or brown community, whatever, it's a very different thing. And the police brutality is a very different thing, because there's more hate. There's just more advanced racism.
I do want to ask something else about that. So the thing is that here in the United States, out of all the Asians, I think the East Asians, I think Vietnamese actually have some of the highest rates of Republican, voting. They're more right wing. I think also the Korean community also has this phenomenon going on to a certain extent. Maybe they're more conservative. Is it the same thing as true in Germany, or not really?
Not like I don't. It's like I don't. Okay, to be very honest, I lost the overview of the Vietnamese community, because some of them, they are. I just I think I got so many meltdowns when I just try to approach, because they speak. So the thing is, like, emotionally, I'm just I'm like a sponge, and I get everything. Sometimes I just like walk around and then I start crying, or start feeling like extremely depressed,
You're
whatever.
empathic.
Yes, but and sometimes it's just difficult. I need a training, and sometimes very a lot of like isolation that I can distinguish. Is this my feeling, or is like from them? And a lot of like in Vietnamese spaces, there's so much oppressed like pain transformation, or like I don't even know that I can feel with them that I somehow get, or they speak like extreme socialists and stuff, but I'm just so confused. Like I'm just
Okay, well,
yeah.
just
So
just from my medical background, just so you know, you can look this up yourself. When I touch my shoulder right here, okay, in your own brain will light up the parts of you actually feeling the sensation of you touching your own shoulder. So the thing is that what you're saying about like being able to feel what other people feel, it's not completely unnatural, right? That's the way our brains are wired. That's just a more example of a more basic, thing. But you can see that even mice will try to save each other from a trap, right? So there is a certain part of biology within us, and our nervous system works in a way that we are naturally supposed to help feel what other people feel. And if you don't, you're considered to be psychopathic or something like that when you have no empathy. That's actually a disorder in itself.
yeah,
So
yeah,
there's not what you're saying right now is actually, I wish it was more normal, right? Yeah, because being able to feel what other feels, I think, is a very powerful tool.
yeah. Like yes, it is. But like for me, I just want to highlight my struggles sometimes, because I have always like this one a famous example of like when people are heartbroken and stuff. And I just met a friend, whatever, and then I went home, and like for 6 hours straight, like there was like a heartbrokenness, and I couldn't just understand, because in that period of time, like I couldn't understand where it's come from, because like, but who I'm missing, I just don't understand what's going on. Like there was no person, there was no situation right now, and it was just like so strong. It was so painful, physical pain, whatever, and just like didn't get it. And then then later I just asked this friend, and the friend was finally opening up and sharing like where they come from and stuff. And then it's like, yeah, try to tell me a little that I just know where they can locate where it come from, because then I feel like crazy, because I cannot really get a context out of it, from my emotional world and stuff. That's like sometimes.
Well, I
um,
actually recently had an AAPI for Trump event. I know you probably don't agree with that, but it is what it is. We'll talk more about that later. But the lady who actually who highlighted that event was named Holly Ham. She's actually Vietnamese American, and she was actually I was excited to work with a Vietnamese person, and I'm excited to work with you. So we're going to see where this goes. So usually all the questions that I ask the activists are the same. I'm
mhm.
taking a little more time with this one because this one's a very special episode. But usually the next question I ask people that are here is, what got you started with your whole activist journey? Was it something that happened? What was the first? Maybe also, is there something you became aware of, and what's the first thing that you actually worked on as an activist?
Oh, this is like very difficult. Um,
I can share with
um,
mine right quick, maybe to help you think of yours. So for me, when I was about, I'm 48, maybe 49 actually, right, almost 50. Maybe I'm 49 already. I'm not really sure. I have to go back and check. But the thing is that when I was a teenager, I believe, right, maybe early teens, the thing is that the Korean Olympics was going on. There was an Olympics in Korea. I don't know if you were old enough to remember that. And the thing is that there was actually signs where Koreans were holding signs saying "Yankee, go home." And I was here in America. I said, "Mom, Dad, I thought America's the good guys. What's going on here?" And that kind of opened me up to the idea that, I started to learn more about it. And I said, you know what? Then I understood that not everything was as it seemed. So that was a political awakening for me. Probably the first thing that I probably worked on was I read about plastics and how they were endangering the environment. It made sense to me. So, environmental stuff was always close to me. Maybe yourself, right? You once again you said that being Vietnamese American, you were aware at an early age of how you were treated differently, of inequities. Maybe that was. I'll
yeah.
go ahead.
So in yeah, um, it's I think one of the first is like we like growing up in East Berlin. Like you have to remember there was a wall. There's like the punk scenes and stuff, and it's like difficult because like there are punkers and
Wait,
they're
you say East Berlin? So wait, you were living across were you living in the communist side of the country? Because Berlin was split into west side and the east side, and the east side was controlled by the communists, and the west side was the Western powers, correct?
Yeah, yes. I grew up after the wall fall. Like,
Oh, you
yes,
grew
officially, like, it was like united thing, but like still you could feel like the Eastern culture.
so you were born after the wall was torn down. Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. So, but like, yeah, in the eastern side. So there's like, the funny thing is, for me, it was difficult sometimes to distinguish the how you call it, rednecks? No, like the Nazi people, like they're
Right.
both like, yeah. So the rednecks.
Once the Nazis were already done, you mean the communists, maybe?
No. Like, so you have like two people with sometimes like almost no hair, and like wearing black and like very strong shoes. So we have the punks and we have the rednecks, and sometimes they look for me the same. And it's just difficult because the punks are more protective towards minorities against like the Nazis and right wings and stuff. You know,
Okay,
like on the
punks
street.
have ties to the anarchy movement. I don't know about the rednecks. Might be red shirts, or maybe I don't know. Like there's a lot of red this, red that, but I really don't know.
How you call the Nazi, like sorry, just vocabulary. The white necks. Like, I don't know how you.
Nazis?
Yeah, you just say also Nazis. You say Nazis.
Okay, yeah, I would think. Okay, I think like the punks often, the anti-fascists, they would often have fights with, nationalists or Nazis,
Yes.
things like that. So
Yes, exactly.
yeah, okay,
But they
that makes
look the
more sense.
same, right? Like, so Nazis were like bold, like they were like
Can be skinheads.
yes.
They would
Skinheads. Sorry, not rednecks. Skinheads. Oh my
Okay.
god, that's so stupid.
Okay. No, it's okay.
Okay.
Don't worry about it.
Skin. Okay, yeah, skin.
Okay.
Yeah, right, makes sense because the skin, and then okay. Yeah. So we like, and so the thing is, like, when I had to travel a lot as a kid to school or whatever, and yeah, so when I was alone, it was difficult because when you're alone as a Asian person, as a child on the street, it doesn't take like 5 minutes till like an old white grown up is approaching you, right? Like they want to, like, yeah, it's just like, so when
Wait.
yeah.
What? Being an Asian American female, it might be very different. Maybe when he's approaching you, he wants you for sexual things, or
Yeah,
what?
I know.
See, now they're not really approaching me like that. I mean, maybe, but not as much, right? Like,
Yeah,
it's very different. So I don't know, but it would make
you
sense.
say, yeah, like you mentioned Asian American, right? Like, but like why you mention Asian? Is it an Asian okay,
Well,
because
Asian
like,
American women are actually, there's another. We'll get into that later, but
okay.
yeah, when
So
you say that you're approached by old white men, like
yeah,
I'm not really approached
in
by
a
old white
section.
men, so I really
Okay. This is a common thing that people have to understand. Like, every femme body, like I identify as like non-binary, but like, so all femme bodies, especially people of color and whatever, kids, in kids way, like they don't even, it doesn't even matter what gender you have, you will be approached like by white people or whatever. It's just like there's an audacity of like no borders. Just like you approach them and want to give them a touch or whatever. It's like, so it does, even if the parents are there, because there's such a supremacy of like this kind of weird savior behavior, whatever. It's just like weird. There's no respect. It's just like yeah. That's why it's a very different notion of like people calling like child services. Like neighbors might call child services because they like letting like the kids taking away from their parents, not because they hear something, but like it's just like a racial, like, yeah, it's like so many things. So as a kid, I got like very young, like sexualized. So, and that's why you have to look out, like always, to think like, okay, how can I get home safe or go out safe, whatever. And like you have to, from far away, have to have like a vision of like dangers and escape routes and whatever. I was good in running, and yeah. So the point is, with the skinheads and like the punks, I had to look at the shoes because they were like, if it's like different colors, like I think it was red and white, then they are more punks. If it's just white, I was confused about this, but that's why like I was always looking for but punks, because I knew punks are like more radical to be radical enough like to protect. Like I had a sympathetic how you said feeling towards like punks, and they would feel protected and safe. Because my father had a gun at home. Because people were buildings in the past were burned, like still today, refugee buildings and whatever, they get burned by Nazis or by people who doesn't like immigrants and like non-white people and stuff. And so yeah, I was always like, I didn't really know what for what we have to. That was just like in the air, such danger all the time. And my mom taught me very young, that how dangerous men are, and like
Okay,
how
so
I
that kind of opened you up towards the world of activism and realized that things aren't necessarily right. What's the
I
first
don't.
kind of action that you took to actually try to fix things, or what's the first activist thing that you did?
I'm not like I grew up with so many different minorities. So in Berlin, so I try to speak always for like minority groups, like unconsciously. I was just like, I was aware how many people from different communities were suffering, right? Like
Yeah,
for example, there were like Kurdish and Syrian, no, Kurdish and Palestinian friends, or like a person from Algeria, and also Albanian or Mongolians, or so many different backgrounds in school. And yeah, and I visit them at home, or try to hang out or whatever. And I know from kind of which kind of working class their parents come from and stuff. So the thing is that a lot this is like the difficult thing. A lot of my friends, they were like taking like they started to take a lot of drugs, like even if it's just like weed and stuff like this. And then like I try, like for me, my activism part was always like towards like my different kind of friends and communities, to say like how actually awesome you are. Like kind of like I try to empower them in the sense of like, let's do this together, or like try to speak to them like, hey, like understand your story, or like I don't know. I went to skateboarding. Skateboarding saved me. The community saved me, because there we can be outcasts, and we were like kind of more community or more protective to each other when like they're big communities that are trying to steal stuff and stuff. So, but like, yeah, being stuck at home and taking drugs, and not understanding why, because like they didn't like, I try to like make them understand that like like the outside people, like I mean the education system, the German community, they 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 say bad the media and everything, they give you a wrong narrative, they're oppressing you. What you feel is real, but it has nothing to do with you. So that's why you don't need to take drugs, and you don't need to, like, I didn't know any solution at that time. So I felt like
but
my whole life always like helpless, but I tried to even educate like the teachers. I went to a school kid, even to the headmaster, and said like, hey, you have to do like this way. You have to understand why the school little different groups are teaching each other like this. You have to do like this kind of thing, or acknowledge this kind of thing. That there's like kind of more peace in there. I think one of my real, like, I don't know, like one of the activism was like when I went, no, how you say it? Yeah, all right. Um, when I had to finish school, and we had like to make a presentation about something we were interested about. I had economics, something related to Vietnam. I tried to get in contact with the Vietnamese activists, with the bloggers and stuff, because they try to highlight like all the things, like what's going on wrong in Vietnam, but that then it gets shut down, it get imprisoned and stuff like this. So this was one of the first that I tried to highlight this, why like how Vietnamese economy and like situation is right now with free speech, freedom of speech. And then somehow the school got me connected with like some weird, like, I mean, yeah, academia people who are trying to work on this kind of like blogs and stuff. But then Yeah, I think then I just tried to, when I went to university, I wrote my school like, hey, we need like the people in the school, because this was like a school with like a lot of like people with backgrounds, like immigrant or refugee background. So I tried to highlight like, I want to talk to them, I want to go to school, I want to highlight like what they should be prepared of when they go to academia, because every day in academia I was like crying. Every day is just like so oppressive in the sense of like, I mean, they called me like, oh, you speak like the way you think is like very primitive. It's like I was just reading out loud the author, and you call me already primitive. No one is saying something, and every time everything they said was like, okay, so European and whites are great. Everyone else, everyone not white, is like super like underdeveloped, super like stupid and blah, whatever. So like being in a room constantly getting an education how backwards you are is like nonsense. Like mentally it's like breaking you. And then like in school the same, it happens already in school. They try to kick me, like not kick me out, but they try to say like, maybe working is better for you, you don't need to go to higher education. Just because I had very fundamental questions, right? Like why it's like this, why like I question so much system. And then like yeah, and I try to talk it out to me. It's like, no, I was
Nowadays I actually I feel similar myself because I feel like education in our system does not teach us a political education. So I'm like tired of the education that we're pushed so hard to achieve because, for example, right, the kids they'll learn right the slope of a line, and if the line is curved, they learn calculus so that they can really max out that slope to make the boss rich. But you look at the food right inside the cafeteria, it looks like it came out of a prison cell, but you don't know how to change your own life, how to improve your own life. You're not taught that. So, like a lot of times, I feel frustrated with higher education because they charge so much money, right? I'm actually dealing with that debt. And did they really, like at a fine arts school, they'll teach you to draw a line, but they won't teach you to sell that line. And the thing is that, I feel like, so I know that's actually, depressing to hear someone say you're not good enough for this, right? Because it's honestly insulting, right? So you could do whatever you want, but I am just so fed up with academia and so angry with them about their the way that they don't. I'm actually happy they were trying to address something about Vietnam, right? But for the most part, they really don't. Like you said, people don't know about Namibia, right? I hear that Germans are actually ground in a lot about the guilt from the Holocaust, but
yeah,
there's no
yeah.
real guilt about the Second Reich, which is absurd, right? So it really the people with the political power are the ones who are able to have their problems acknowledged, but the people without political power are rolling in the trash. So, and I blame higher education for allowing this to occur. So I am very skeptical of them, and I hate them. That's just
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
like I want to change one narrative about like wrong higher education, wrong education stuff. I don't talk about like this kind of wrongness anymore. I talk about violence. So I talk about how in school, in kindergarten, in like higher education, people, it's not about brainwashing anymore. Even it's not about like the lack of specific knowledge or whatever. No, what is produced is violence into your mind. Like the I mean, that's what's the reason why like my friends were believing not in themselves in that sense, right? Like the most critical, most smartest people who had like they could speak like 4 languages, and like they because they grew up like that, and like they have extremely like not like in terms of survival skills, like a whole complex colonial whatever like understanding and of the world, and like so many different skills, and it's like chopped off of like you are not intellectual, like you are not intelligent, and this ingredients of like devalidation and of any kind of way of knowledge, because like the way of you thinking independent from like the whole system, what they just say, you have to understand this. If you don't understand this, it is just a proof you're stupid. Like you have to understand you're stupid. You understand that you're stupid. Like you
Yeah.
the way you talk, the way you like your tonation, your grammar. I hate
They're
grammar.
teaching conformity. They're not teaching
Yes.
independent thought. They're not teaching self reliance. They're teaching conformity.
But this
And
is violence. This is violence. So every kind of knowledge is power. Any
I'm
kind of
listening.
knowledge should give you any form of empowerment. Doesn't matter if it's like, yeah, yes. And
By the
then
way,
like,
I'm gonna talk to you further on. I found your the fact that you grew up in East Berlin. I'm actually very interested to find out. Right, people like yourself should be on the front lines talking about how can North Korea and South Korea reintegrate. Right, someone who was understand what it's like to live from a communist culture and try to reintegrate that into someone like yourself. I'm very interested to work with, but we're gonna talk about that further later on. But the next question that I usually ask, all the questions that I ask on my online active series are the same, and they current in order. So if you find these questions interesting, you can see how over 100 actors from around the world answer these same questions. So the next question is a lot of some people say they follow a certain political ideology. Some people might say socialism, capitalism. That seems to be a dichotomy. Other people might say they're conservatives. That's something that doesn't necessarily follow an economic model. Maybe it's a couple of different ideologies, right? Or maybe it's no ideology. Do you have a political ideological framework that you follow or guides your thought?
only like yeah, it's actually from the Black Panther Party or from European Union, just like power to the people. So because I went like to like I'm back from working class, and like so when I experienced and I when I was in Asia and living with like I mean I tried to survive, so I got in contact with like people who are mainly kind are like poor people, and helping them out, and I was like, so the problems like poor people face.
If I could just jump in for a second, yeah.
Sorry, yeah.
I'm gonna put you in contact with some of the Black Panther people that are doing stuff here in New York City. Earlier you said that you were influenced by Huey Newton. Just so you know, I brought Bobby Seale, another co-founder of the Black Panthers, to my school back in University of Buffalo to speak. I've actually had quite a few interactions with different Black Panthers around, and when she talks about Huey Newton, another person was Eldridge Cleaver, and Eldridge Cleaver had a much more militant approach, but Huey P. Newton was all about like the community building, which she's talking about now. So if you really study the Black Panther movement, when she's talking about Huey Newton and talking about helping the community, she's talking from that framework, I believe.
That
So
like he's not just about
people don't know.
community, right? Like yeah, like because to go deeper, I was on the edge from the oppression to die. I wasn't diagnosed as autistic yet. I couldn't understand myself and anything else. I was about to die. Like really, I couldn't make it anymore. And Newton's like I mean Malcolm's speeches and who resonates with me, like yeah, that's exactly going on in the world, that's exactly going on in Germany and stuff. And then like truth helped me, their agenda were to me speaking the truth. And Newton's revolutionary suicide is like, okay, yeah, if you're about to die, yeah, that's the reactionary death, reactionary suicide. And then there's a revolutionary suicide. If you die anyway, then like you can die upwards instead of die downwards, right? Like die slowly in like a death environment and stuff of this oppression. So that's why my philosophy is like as Newton, this kind of self-defense, which is actually on the edge. Like to understand self-defense means like to understand your human value, dignity. This is what you're defending. So that's actually the common human rights. So so my political philosophy is like from Newton and from Tina Han even, a non-ideological approach, because the ideology approach, like they had, I mean, this made war, right? And they try to stop war, and then like the not like to understand how we should think in a process.
I'm sorry. Earlier you said someone named Tito Han or something like that.
Tina Han.
Tina Han. Can you spell that?
Wait.
Tina Han.
Thich, the radical Buddhist monk, Vietnamese Buddhist monk, who Thi Nhat Han. So I'm putting it in the chat. So Thich N is it
Nguyen?
No, Thich Nhat, like I think it's like NHAT and oh no, wait, sorry.
I'll look it up. Yeah.
Han. So I put in the chat.
Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I'm gonna look that up.
Yeah.
Okay, I haven't heard that name, so I'm gonna learn about it.
Okay, so Tina Han, like Newton and Tina Han had in the same time, 1960s, around like before even, like the similar understanding of like, okay, we have to make like we have to focus on like survival in the sense of like feeding, like community wise, like they were focused on the children, feeding them, but also every kind of human, like to make a group. Uh, European Newton had like the Black Panther Party. Tina Han had the group of Interbeing, and they were extremely disciplined, of trying to have a very strong mindset and understanding and political understanding of your environment, that you can resist all this ideology to get like not loose in this stuff and to be focused on the reality, right? And how you do that in terms of like revolutions, like okay, I can get too much into the details in that sense, but like, so they are both methods of contemplation. Reality is so independent, like you can just start it by yourself, like okay, you listen to Tina Han, they have like radical Buddhist methods to like, okay, ground yourself, and like it's a different form of like this kind of meditation and stuff like that people do. It's like grounding to do action, right? So that's why like and then like Newton also like in order to feel find your freedom, it's like it's a different form of like understanding the internal world and stuff, because you have to understand Newton was incarcerated, right, for like many years, and I mean, was in prison for many years and tortured, right? So we have to understand like the when it comes to ideology and political whatever things, they don't add. No one of these political, like even communism, anarchy, whatever. Like what was for me missing for survival was like proper tools to survive right now in the moment, and like Newton's way, like like both approaches were like how you when you are threatened with violence, like how you mentally overcome, like get freedom and overcome stuff, right? Oppression, stuff like this. And so that is like a different tool, like training of like people just say like always the time, like people to the power, like power, or just be strong, or get a thick skin and stuff like this. These words, they don't change anything. Not for me, not for me. You can say something like no peace, no justice, whatever, anything you can say to me, but it's somehow so abstract I cannot apply to my reality. But when it comes to like Newton's way of talking, like real talk, and Tina Han's way of real talk, it's not just like get like one thing is about an understanding of the world, what you see and you experience from seeing or whatever is one thing. But when you experience by yourself, when you're alone by yourself, when you like, even if a physical violence is right in front of you, or if you're even at home and suffer from all the violence in your head, then people need a different kind of independent approach how to survive that, like, and how to fight that. And that's why like the only ideology, or like, that's a funny thing, their ideologies they call non-ideology, right? They say like
I have to admit that I also have a very similar viewpoint, because a lot of times people have an ideology, but in all the ideologies, the rules are bent to cater to the rich and the powerful, and they're also bent to hurt the weak. And you know what I mean? The ideology, so what? You saying whatever. I look at, and actually I really like what I also like about Newton, what you talked about earlier, is are you actually helping people, right? You talk about people sitting on a chair, they're like, oh, the world should be this way, the world should be that way. They never helped anybody and any individual person in their lives. They have, but somehow these people say that they know, they need to get smacked. I agree with that a lot. And usually the next questions are right to try to, after that, that's just my own personal view. So there's the ideology. Then the next question usually asks about like, you know, sometimes people say within a certain framework they have someone who influences them. So you already talked about Thich Nhat, or I don't know if I'm saying it right, and also the Huey Newton. So that and you did a great job of explaining why you were into those people. So those are the next questions. The next question I usually ask after that is, there's you know, a bunch of different actors who I have on the show, and to help differentiate them, right? Because we're all at different levels within this, or different points in the journey in terms of being an activist. So what are you most proud of accomplishing? What have you
to be very honest, like survival in some sense. Like how you say it? It's survival in a sense of like to be like I still struggle with this. Like I feel I accomplished something when I know I didn't get corrupted. When I know how you say it, I don't
Sell out.
exploit. Yeah.
They used to
So
call it selling out.
yeah, okay, yeah, sell out. So if I stand with like my when I can stand with myself and be how you say it how you say it I don't even like right now, for example, when you were saying like you're from working class, you're like anti-academia and stuff like this. I'm proud to have accomplished that. I sticked like that. I wasn't fooled by all my environment. That I didn't like because I believe that people like you exist, and that as you said, it's like very rare and whatever. And I said like, okay, I'm rather being alone for like years as from the position of the Asian. Like I rather like because people I knew that like a lot of like people in academia or people who are activists or politicized, they have privileges, right? Like there were some privileges to it, and people don't acknowledge us, even though they learn from like in brown community like voices, and they speak like maybe like try to speak like Malcolm X and stuff like this. Like look into your position. Like I mean, for me, I had to also because of autism, people don't understand that, but like I had to separate myself always because I had meltdowns and like there's something going on that I don't understand.
Do you say
And
Meltons? What is Meltons?
meltdowns like
Meltdown.
when you
Meltdown. Okay.
melts so I mean I was always alone in so many different communities. Like the people that were asking like what is this Asian chick doing here, like in the black community, like what is this Asian chick doing here, like I don't like sorry for my people or sorry for people who just go like invade your space and like somehow take over or like exploit you. I'm really sorry for it, but I really try like and like also for so many different communities, Palestinian, whatever, like when I'm not part of the kind of community in that sense to be there and like even face like when they just question you so much and it's really hard to be like isolated in that sense, like no connection to any kind of people from my community because they're too capitalistic to focus on so many wrong things.
Did you say that? So you said this has also happened to you in your fight for the Palestine community. You're also find
Yeah.
yourself sometimes. I get that as well too. It's quite and being Vietnamese and Korean once again, we have so much relevant perspective and experience to bring to this. And a lot of people who you see speaking have never been affected like by war like you and me.
No, I wouldn't say that. Like, what you wouldn't like. I mean, right? The sentence right now was like they haven't never been affected like you and me. Like we talk about Palestinians and Black community. No one like can like the effectiveness of racism with on colonialism and the exploitation towards like Palestinians and I don't want to make the hike or whatever and stuff, but like I think about survival, right? Like I know how hard it was for me that I couldn't even almost make it when I didn't had like diagnosis as soon as possible about autism. I got that through also like like academics, scholars from the Black communities. So the point is, I'm only alive. Even my family is only alive because of like the Black and Brown community, right? Like this is like the thing. This is the thing. Like especially like the Black community, they went to Vietnam with weapons to defend us and stuff, and they were on the street like decades ago, right? And like also for Palestinians, like Black community were for Palestinians decades ago on the street, and what they do, like, and I miss them. Like go to Robert Brooks like movements, right? Like justice for Robert Brooks and like for Black lives. Like don't just go when the masses are there. Like mobilize and become the masses. Like show persistency, right? And solidarity and persistency. What the Black community are doing, because when they went on the street, it's not just like oh they can and they're able to no, they're risking their lives, right? Because they're facing like police brutality, so they're risking their life to just stand in solidarity to us. And do we risk our life to stand in solidarity to like the Black community, or like in the, like, I don't know, like, I mean, here in New York's maybe fine to somehow in some degree have like joining like some movements or being, I don't know, volunteers and stuff, because you serve. But if you go to Connecticut, like very wide spaces, and then standing or even travels as far in that sense, because many people just really in consistency and activism, they travel far. And I try to do that also the same in in Germany for like refugee movements and stuff. But like I try to understand like where they come from, with their emotions against me, and I always sorry because I see how bad Vietnamese people or like East Asians, Southeast Asians are in that comment. Like, because it's not about us in that moment, right? We have to make it about them, and then like and deal with like, we have to, in order to have a space to talk about our own problems, we have to have this space, like to be able to talk about this, and we have to mobilize more to, but we don't take our mics and go to other spaces and make it about us. Like, this is wrong, and that's why like the town hall yesterday, it's just,
Well, sometimes, right? So we could talk more about that later. Sometimes, right? Sometimes you have to, sometimes not, right? Like sometimes Black people go into white spaces and try to drive their issue, and I can't say they're necessarily wrong for that, right? So I
yeah.
think
This, why
it's
this is something
not always right, not always wrong. Go ahead.
But what Newton did was talking to different, because his like I mean, they were very the first, like like the Black Panther Party was the first for me, the internationals, right? I mean, for like the Western point of view, but like the international perspective towards like anti-colonial like subjects and like activists and stuff. So and I think what they did, or like, it was very organized, just like go to the spaces, talk to the leader, asking permission with the leader, hey, let's do something, like, can we talk about these things, like 101, like just leaders, or like a smaller group, or like even a big panel, like, but
Okay.
approach it with respect to others, because people have already like kind of a different agenda sometimes, right? Like, because and if we don't communicate the different agendas like that's happening, like, we talk about activist groups, right? We
Well,
don't
absolutely.
talk about
Sometimes
like,
people try to co-opt the movement, sometimes try to do all kinds of other things, right? They try to derail it. There's a lot of shenanigans going on. Sometimes people will be there to take it over. Yeah, so absolutely, you got to keep it straight. Now, when I asked earlier about what you're most proud of accomplishing, and I do appreciate that answer, not selling out, right, or not, right, giving into, but as in terms of, like maybe you've introduced legislation, right? If not, that's okay. Maybe you actually helped somebody, right? Can you give us actually maybe a more specific answer about what you actually accomplished, as in terms of actually making a difference in the community, or maybe implementing a policy change somewhere, or making a difference in someone's life? What are you most proud of achieving as in terms of that?
then I guess like cannot say like yeah, I mean, because everything what maybe looks like a accomplished is for me a failure. Like I was able to, how you say it, I try to make community work in the Vietnamese community in Germany, and connect people. Then there was like a Facebook group was established, like we have like we established a kind of, yeah, I don't know. So people got connected and had a group, but I had to go because it was then too hostile and too wrong direction and stuff. So it's not really accomplishment. But
Well, even if you didn't succeed, right? Yeah, you still made some forward progress in some way. You built up a network, you started communicating with people, stuff like that, right? So it should have moved forward in some way, but that's it is what it is. But this
yeah.
is the easy fight, and a lot of times, like you said earlier, we're often all alone, especially right, in these spaces. So I know it's very difficult to get things done like that. So
Maybe like I'm proud to have like one accomplishment is like a autism network, also in academia. like that is like more about knowledge production about autism from like yeah, to understand autism from like autistic people, or not from medical like non-autistic people a lot. So I'm happy to have established like knowledge production like space with autistic people.
Well, I tell you what, I think you and me have a lot to work on together. Just so you know,
Yeah,
we actually got the New York State Disabilities Coordinator reinstalled after a month of protests in front of City Hall. And our next disabilities, we're actually working on trying to get legislation passed for the deaf blind. And I'd love to make autists, actually, I know you're not from the United States, but I already do some disabilities advocacy work, and if we could actually get some stuff done for autism, and I think that you're unique, like I said before, your unique understanding of how to integrate right previous communist societies with, can help understand North Korea and South Korea. Maybe there's a pathway for them to work together. So I'm gonna put you on a lot of places working together. And there's before I know that you were alone, it was hard to get things done. But I
yeah, this
really
is my
say, and I'm really looking forward to working with you. Go ahead.
thank you. Like yeah, my main like what I really want to accomplish now is like a space where like Southeast Asian communities or Vietnamese communities, especially with disabilities or from the spectrum and stuff, that we can like get more politicized in like with the understanding of like where what actually happened with colonialism and stuff, like our own history and identities, but also in solidarity and being more activist
How
on
long are
the.
you going to be in the States? How long do we have to work on this? Are you here on a student visa or are you going to be here for a while?
Yeah, I will be here for like 5 6 years, I think.
Okay, maybe get some cool things done. Okay, cool.
Yeah, so yeah, I'm trying to yeah, that's why it's called like decolonial vietspectrum, because it's like about colonial activism mainly, and then yeah, within like kind of somehow mobilize the Vietnamese community in that sense, or like Southeast Asian or Asian in general, and then like spectrum also because of like we can only like do activism if we understand each other, like in a sense like understanding our disabilities, like how we talk, and that we don't get wrong. Yeah, if we have better
I'm going to
understanding of
some of
our
my
conversations.
resources, the Asian studies programs. I'm going to shoot you a list of some of my disabilities advocates and see if we can start getting you patched into some different communities and organizations that work on these issues. And maybe we could have a roundtable and really kind of make something happen. So I'm very
Yeah.
excited about that. Now,
Okay.
the
Yeah, I
first,
have done.
go
Yeah,
ahead.
sorry. If just one step for like to just like do some activism in that sense, like we fight back. It's like everywhere, like in so many places, right? It's like starting at 20th January, like.
So can I see the bottom of that flyer right there? Who put that? Who made that? We fight back. Okay, 2025. Okay, who is that? Okay, I don't really know who that is. Okay, so we're gonna see.
People's
Uh,
Forum.
oh my God. Okay,
Oh,
that's a whole other
sorry.
story. No, it's
Oh,
okay.
yes, another horror story. I'm so sorry.
I'm
Like
at war
I'm
with
new.
People's Forum. That's okay. Don't worry about it. Yeah, it
You
is what it is.
you in war?
I'm at war with the People's Forum. Yeah,
Oh,
I
I
be going.
didn't know. I can
Well,
understand.
yeah,
Like
we'll talk
I
about
mean,
that later. Don't worry about that. It is what it is. I'm
yeah,
not
but
saying
I'm just
everything they do is bad, but there's
yeah.
definitely some crooked shit they hiding. But
Yeah. I just like to get people like I mean people. I just want for like especially for the Asian communities like having steps towards politicizing, right? So this is like a harmful like little step to just see how people organize and stuff, but then of course get connected and then like getting like I mean I have also like
they're a
um
decent first step. I'll say that. Yeah.
yeah, it's just like difficult. I don't know how to yeah, but any like our house have here not like with the 12th December movement from the
Okay.
black community, you know.
I don't really know. No, December 12th community. I don't know. So,
Yeah, this like yeah, so it's just like from the black community also um yeah, they were also connected to the town hall meeting that we went and met.
yeah,
um
I'll actually patch you in with some of the Black Panthers I've been talking to as well, and trying
yeah,
to make some certain things happen. It sounds like you have a background with that.
yeah, but
Uh,
please join to Albany, is it Albany?
Albany, yeah, Albany.
Yeah, so like with the we signed up like in the town hall where we went to to join. They have buses, so we don't need to pay and stuff to join like there to be like in solidarity for justice for Robert Brooks. Yeah, like just please if as much people can join there would be great. Yeah, it's like my cause, like what I think of.
Oh, do you mean January 12th? Because December 12th was last
No,
month.
no, January 14th.
14, yeah, at the at Hochul's office or something, right? Or what is it again?
Yeah.
14. Okay, you
Yes.
mean okay? I know about that one. Okay, I was asked earlier to go to that one. We're gonna see.
Are you joining?
I'm gonna try to also bring just so you know, I brought mayoral candidates to I probably won't just be there myself. I'm gonna also try to bring a group of candidates running for office in New York City and try to
Okay.
force the larger candidates to actually have discussion on that. So
Okay.
I'm gonna see if I can not only bring myself but bring my whole team out there. You're gonna see. I brought a whole bunch of people to. I'll show you at the end, but I brought a bunch of mayoral candidates to public housing to prevent the demolition, to protect our most vulnerable. I also brought them out to address the issues of CUNY corruption, and we're also trying to get that issue dealt with on February 2nd. So that's some other issues that we're dealing with. But January 14th, I should not only come out there, but I should also come out there with a team that's going to make some cool things happen. So I'll shoot you those.
Okay.
I should be there. Okay, so let's the next question is okay, the first half is you to get to know yourself. The next half is really understanding some questions for the people that are watching this are honestly probably other activists. I'm not here for the regular population where there's no pain, there's no urgency. Regular people want to watch celebrities. They want to watch, right? Yeah, pretty faces. They're not ready for the trauma. They're not ready for all of this. This is specific for activists. So people, you've been an activist for what, 10 years, 5 years?
I don't even like, I mean, like activism, like it's like I don't know how people understand activism. I just now would call myself activist because like when it's about like nonstop trying to find a solution of like to engage with different communities and how to like approach change and stuff like this. Like I have a very different definition.
Well, I'm going to ask you about that right now. So the thing is that, and this will help us to understand that. The thing is that, what do you think are the most effective things that activists can do? Right? I know you study Newton's different ways of community building. You see these protests. You're asking you who protest, maybe think protests are effective. What do you think are the most effective things? Right? There's someone out there who's maybe dealing with their own problems. They're trying to think, what can I do as an activist to solve my own problems? What are the most effective things that you think activists can do?
No, to be honest, everyone has like their own okay. Yeah, everyone has like their own journey and stuff. Like my so with the disabilities movement, it's like the saying of like nothing about us without us, right? So it's
always that line. Hell yeah, I agree with that.
So I was focused, like I got actually again back on track on activism based on the focus, based on the focus on working class and and how you say it. So just start to reach out to the communities, right? So because people need volunteers, like is it just about like start with like bottom-up approach, like start with looking out for grassroots like movements and organizations. And when they like that's a weird thing, if they shut you down, if they shut you away stuff, it's not about the people. It's like I don't know, people.
I just jump in for a second. I've been an activist for over 25 years, and I cannot agree with you more. Actually, the ELF is about the little people, and just so you know, people, I've been elected before. And the people say, like, you know what happened after when I was elected? People began to rely on me to do everything. And then what happened was the people who were watching what I was doing were the people who wanted to do their own thing and profit off of that information. And after I left, they took over and they rolled back a lot of things that I accomplished. You cannot get lasting change by just electing someone or having a savior doing it for you. You must absolutely have a ground up movement. That's why, right, people say, why don't you run for office? Don't you want to be a leader? No, right? Yeah,
No.
that cannot be a lasting change. That
Yeah.
might get changed for a little bit. This cannot be a real long lasting change. You cannot get true. If society were good, you wouldn't need laws. So the fact of the
No
matter,
leaders movement. No leaders movement.
I agree with that in so many ways, right? Yeah. So, um, I mean, just I personally, I think we're going to have good synergy working together. But just so you know, folks, this is actually a very core part of, and maybe it's being Asian American, maybe it's other stuff, but for some reason, we have very good alignment on these particular ideas. So leaders can make a difference, but in the end, leaders cannot be the true source of change. It has to come from the community, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So 100. Thank God. Thank God. Yeah, I'm very happy to hear that answer. That's just me personally. Sorry to go off on that. Okay.
No,
Uh,
it's fine.
yeah. My last question, then we'll kind of like go off into our own things, right? Well, actually, I'll ask a couple more after that, just about like how people can contact you and all this stuff and other things you have planned for the future. But the last question is really oh, I'm sorry. There's two more questions. I'm sorry. Before I get to that, see, I'm also a little scatterbrained. Okay. One of the things is a lot of people who, when they have problems, they don't know who to turn to because we're not taught a political education. We're taught to make the boss rich, right? So um, when people join organizations, they might find that the organizations, such as People's Forum, right, they might find that the leadership or is not willing to listen to them or not really too willing to incorporate their stuff. I've also been a leader of organizations. I understand that sometimes when you're in an organization, someone else comes in and decides that they want to actually, like you said earlier, completely change the whole bent of everything. Like we're trying to help Robert Brooks, right, and address right, criminal treatment of people that are incarcerated. And then all of a sudden, someone says, you know what, it shouldn't be about that. It should be about fighting for Israel or something. Like what is like where'd you come from? Why are you even here? So, what do you think are the best practices for organizations to make sure that they're addressing their issues while also attending to the needs of the members and not shutting them up and silencing them? What are some of the best practices that you think for organizations to address the needs of the
Yeah,
community?
this
Go
is
ahead.
so like this is like so I wouldn't um like how you say it. So I mean it's something that can be like not can be changed, but like um the yeah point so I mean there was a similar situation with like in a bookstore book club meeting discussing about like anti-racism movement and about like activists and whatever and stuff, and then they were all like intellectuals and then they were all reading, and then like a homeless person came inside and then like and complained about like how their family members were taking away. So I mean, and then you talk to a homeless person that like can you please leave, we're trying to discuss about a like book club and stuff. Like you hear activists for like the people trying to kick out to the cold a homeless like I mean the point is that the contact is, I'm not sure if it's like, okay, a friend told
It's
me, okay, I'm
outrageous. Right?
trying
You
to help.
can't fix overseas if you can't fix home. They'd rather
Yeah.
talk about theoretical problems overseas where it's safe, right? They can say this, they can say that, but oh my God, actually taking care of a poor person in their face, that for them is they can't be bothered with that.
But
Then
like
how
we
can you
have
trust them
to,
to take care of somebody else? Hell no.
yeah, but like the point is like each of these settings, like is it the people's forum, is it like a bookstore club, is it like even academia, even in school and stuff. So the framework is the same. There are people like a little bit like more privileged in some sense, having or not in, like for example in town hall meeting was like, hey, who has personal contact or isn't who has personal effectiveness like with people in incarceration. Like not I haven't had that experience, right? Like I mean there were people like decades in prison and stuff. So the point is just still like the difference is like there are people who are they are like, we will face it all the time, right? I mean when you said it, when you hate academia, I hate it. I hate every second academia when it's about me, the only person, and then the rest is like completely kind of illusional or whatever, like in this, or just talking about these things. But this is actually our problem too. right? Like, I mean, we talk like we have to learn what actually already happened. Our problems are not new, right? And it's
Right about
like,
that.
but
It's true.
yes, and then like because I was like crying, complaining so much about like, oh my god, like my accommodations are not met as an autistic person, right? And then like I went to came across like this kind of book things when you have like free books on the streets. There are some boxes. These boxes were made from like some lefty people, right? Like some maybe like these kind of like people you don't like this kind of like zipping the tea, just talking about the stuff, and then they're just making a book thing of wood, and then they're living like their privileged life in their 4,000 apartment, and then like just like thinking intellectually a little bit like about human justice and stuff. Like, of course, it's frustrating. So we have to address what it is. It's frustration. It is our own frustration. It's not about like they are morally completely wrong. So this makes no sense. This helps nothing, right? Because we have to learn how to communicate with so many different kind of like from the bottom up means like we have to like because Newton did the same. Like I mean, Black Panther did the same. Or like the how to communicate and how to work together from even like different capitalists and stuff, like how to make like the movement like consistent, and this is our fight too, right? Like how we have to organize it. We like I'm so terrified to go back to Connecticut and stuff like and being surrounded by whiteness again, right? Alone. I don't have here's how easy.
Why would you go back to Connecticut? Why can't you stay here? Don't go back to Connecticut. Stay here. What are you doing?
Yeah, because there's my program on that sense. Like
your program. When are you going back to Connecticut?
End of January. Yeah.
That soon? Oh my god!
I know. I just escaped from there because I tried everything there, and then it was like nonsense, and no one like even like yeah. But now here I organize and I try to get in contact with like and then it's different to get in contact, right? Because only the people who really care, like really in a grassroots movement, they are like connected and they are like focused on like constant like like this is the movement. So this is the point. You just need the perspective. You need just to get in touch, and to be in order to be in touch means like you have to find like your priorities of like okay, the priorities is like not to just feeling like having vacations or having breaks and just feeling great and heal from stuff. No, you heal within the community, and you have to reach out like to like the people you try to avoid, what you think that they are like maybe the biggest burdens and the biggest exploiter. You think like they're the poor, like because the poor being on the receiving end, like we like there are communities we take care of each other, not taking advantage of each other. So this is the thing of like when you look into organization, if you look into groups, if you look into whatever, so if they don't take like if there's not the ethic of caring, which is coming from the Black feminist thoughts, like the ethic of caring, or the Buddhist like radical community space, the ethic of caring is there, and you have to get into like when you get experience in that, and you don't know how much power you have when you feel your own humanity, right? Because humanity is collective, and yeah.
So the last question before I ask my final two questions, and then I guess we could go off into our own freestyle. But the thing is that I know you've kind of like you started your activist journey, right? You had certain things that you saw, you were understanding. Now you're like several years into it, I guess. Has your perspective changed? If you could look back at yourself when you first started this journey, would you tell yourself something, or maybe people are, if you could look back, right, and tell yourself at the beginning of your journey, what have you learned? What have you experienced? And how has it changed your perspective?
So what I have learned most is like really the deep meaning of like, you need to know yourself. You need to understand yourself. Like if you don't, all these emotions, like we don't, this cat's just
Okay.
so I don't know what to do.
There's a cat in the room. Let it out.
But it's open, no? Okay, wait.
Okay, then maybe just come over. Yeah.
Okay.
What does it want?
I don't know. Like okay. Yeah, you're right. I had to open more the door with the cat. Like I thought, like the cat is smart enough just to.
It's all good.
Open.
Just push it open. Yeah. Yeah. It's all good. Okay, so I'm glad the cat's okay now. There we go. Okay, cool. Maybe it'll run up. We'll get to see it. That'll be cool. All right.
Not
So
my cats, right? Like I don't know. Like okay, yeah, but like
okay.
wait, what was the question?
How was your perspective changed from being active?
Yeah.
And what if
So I was so damn hurt from like several trials to make community building within like the Vietnamese community in Germany, and then to show up like make like solid, like I wanted to have people like very radical focusing on refugees, migrant issues, and like the poor, and like kind of like the real racism part, like and yeah, and not being exploitive, right? Like I don't like that activists from different communities, especially as non-black people, talk so greatly while actually using the words from like black scholars and stuff, and then using this kind of words kind of against like the people they actually learn from. And I just, yeah, so the point is like I had so much emotions in me, and resentment, and all this, like I need to cut people and everyone off in my life, that I can just feel a little bit like healthy enough that I can focus and continue like the work in some ways. Doesn't matter, like just to be persistent, like okay, what is the problem, what is actually, this is the best sentence of like yeah, from the refugee movement, from an activist for refugee rights from Nigeria, yeah, was like know your struggle, like know exactly very deep down like what is your struggle, and then when you exactly know your struggle, you can connect your struggle with the other people's struggles. This is the connection part is the work that we have to do. And like I was always like so angry, like why do people treat me like this, why they exclude me, everyone is excluding me, right? Like every community member is excluding me, the whole world and stuff like this. And you are like, you feel more and more as a minority, especially when you try to do political thing, you feel like very alone and very disconnected and stuff. And then you just like do your own thing, but then it's more easier to be corrupted, right? Because when you only do like when you only do your own thing and everyone's telling you like you don't belong in this group, on this thing or whatever, no one takes you serious, no one takes you as an activist because you're just one person. Who are you, right? You like then you get the idea, I'm only successful if I have like quantity of people, if I have a whole support system, whatever. Like this is crazy. Like we cannot think like that way, especially if we don't know ourselves, right? Like in the sense of like, why am I as a weird autistic non-binary German diaspora like so disconnected to everyone else, like and because there's no one like me. Like I mean, there's like maybe there's a group itself, autistic group already itself super small. We can never have like a whole autistic movement like with everyone involved or whatever. It just makes no sense. So quantity is wrong. So when I understood more myself of like I mean real understanding is like, oh, I understand my emotions, that I have like I'm very alone, so it means like I have to take care of myself in a sense of like emotional like the deep emotional connection to reality in the world. I never felt understood and stuff like this from my parents, whatever. These wounds from young age, and it continues and in now life, like these disconnections, and also all this coping mechanism of like mass, like talk to me or whatever. It's like we have to do this, we have to, the urgency thing. There's also like a lot of emotional processes in that sense. Activism is like emotional processing too, a healing thing too. But like the point is like I had to learn or understand like how from very birth I'm so disconnected to people, and I have to understand like through the like, yeah, I don't know how to say it, but like because I get like kind of the understanding of my emotional lack of emotional connection, in that sense, to rebuild. Like you can, this is an interesting thing, you can rebuild this connection, and Newton's philosophy is also highlighting it, right? If you overcome like the physical world in that sense, I mean it's a different philosophy thing, but like but like if you like this world, this work is like so difficult to understand. But like when I felt somehow connected to myself actually deeply, um, um, based on like accepting also who I am, like in the sense of, okay, yeah, I get it now. I'm like just a random, like very like multi-marginalized, like some in with some privileges. Like I can survive. Like what can I survive and what can I do? And then just trial, like to try it, and then if I fail, like I would survive. Like somehow I don't actually can always.
What you said made so much sense to me. It really is difficult connecting the movements because a lot of people cannot relate to your or my experience because they haven't learned about it. So all they see of Asians is a caricature that they see on TV or the video, right? With either kung fu or geishas or whatever, and they just have a certain right understanding of us. And it's really tragic when we try to, right, like at the Robert Brooks thing. I'm very um, sympathetic to what's going on, right? What's happening to them is absolutely outrageous. It's not cool at all. But a lot of times when Asian Americans are in those communities, sometimes we're not considered to be people of color. We're not really. I only got 2 minutes to speak at that. I'm glad I got those 2 minutes. A lot of people didn't get to speak at all, right? But um, sometimes we are, and that has to do a lot with power too, right? You said a lot of people see your worth by the number of people you have. That happens to me all the time. Oh, you just have 1,000 subscribers. Oh, you're really a nobody. Oh, you have no following. You have no worth. That's why, right? But the fact of the matter is that poor people, I am poor in followers, but that's why I'm so strategic, because true innovation comes from people that are under pressure. If I just had all these followers, I would never have to adapt and innovate and work this hard. So what you said speaks so. I really am connecting with so much what you're saying. It makes a lot of sense to me, and I think that people have to go through certain experiences to really understand what you're saying. I don't think that the normal person who just watches, regular TV. A lot of people are going through issues. I don't know. Maybe more of them can understand that I don't, but I really do feel like I really understand what you're saying at a deep level, and it really is connecting with me. So I
Yeah.
really appreciate what you're saying
But
here.
we really have to do like connections, right? Like to feel like, I don't know, like for example, I felt so many times as an autistic person in a neurotypical like world outside, like and also growing up with like domestic violence and stuff, like imprisoned in my own body, in my own like with all the violence and stuff, right? Like people like autistic way of like experience violence, like just I mean, you don't see it, but like it's also different if you like get beaten up and stuff, but like the extension of, like, I don't know, for me, when it's about like I like the like I'm not sure it makes sense, but like, or if it's right or wrong, or like, because there's so many theories. Like I try to take, like I take everything always literal, and I always take everything like into consideration too much sometimes, or I don't know, like to listen to how to even approach respect towards other communities, right? Like, for example, in everything related to the Vietnamese War or Vietnam community and stuff like this, I easily can feel disrespected when non-Vietnamese people are talking about these things, especially except like people who were victims of the Khmer, like and people from Cambodia, when they face like oppression from Vietnamese communities and stuff. But so I can easily feel like disconnected or like angry or disappointed or frustrated when people talk about these things, that I feel like they have no idea what they're talking about, right? Like like yeah. I mean, we have like you mentioned napalm bombs and stuff like this, where I feel like the sense of okay, there's a connection because you have like a different connection to what's these things. And but I'm yeah, as I said, like I'm like, especially like white folks when they read only like about the Vietnam War and stuff like this, or had like some random very distant connection with people, yeah, like this easily, it's easily done for me in the deepest scar of like in my background, like people interfering in that. I like can like go to hell, like just leave, like let me alone, just like I cannot deal with that invading like my very intimate personal relation to it. That's why I don't like when people ask like about my names and stuff. Mainly just don't try to highlight my background and these things, to not disrespect it also, and or get disrespected through the way of how they approach things. And that, I think, like to other communities, it's a very different way to how we have to learn it. Because within the community they have already like philosophy like Ubuntu and stuff, like I am we, and like trying to think. So my point was just like, okay, I try to make a connection, like in the sense of like, okay, I felt always like very in different ways, like
Do you say different communities like Ubuntu?
Yeah.
Like you mean like the Linux distribution? What Ubuntu?
Ubuntu, the philosophy of Ubuntu is like I am we, like this like the Afrikaner
I didn't know
philosophy.
that. Okay, interesting.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Afrikaner philosophy is like you are not like you are all, right? Like you are not you. You're not an individual. You are the I am we. That means
Okay.
like that's why like it makes more sense to understand like touch one, touch all, right? So
I only knew it as the Linux distribution. I did not know. I this is brand new to me. I had never. Interesting. Okay.
yeah, and then this is like the sense of like how to understand and approach like community when like it's not, for me, Robert Brooks, for example, or Jordan Neely, and the names I'm just learning right now, because in Germany we have Uri Jallo. Uri Jallo, we say like Uri Jallo. This was like also murder, like a person like get randomly just like imprisoned and then being burned to death, and then the police were saying that they.
I did also notice that last night. Right. The thing is that the lady who was burnt to death, she was not black. Her name was never mentioned even once. I'm actually a subway performer because a lot of the people like from People's Forum are blackballing me and blacklisting me. So I am actually forced into poverty and forced right and not recognizing. I don't know if you've ever heard of an Asian American activist. I definitely am one, but they don't want to acknowledge that. So it's quite disgusting. It is what it is. But the fact of the matter is that as a subway musician, I've done more to help other subway musicians. I have more. I have over 100 subway musicians. I provide free contact, and I also provided help them find gigs and stuff like that. But once again, right. So the black versus white issue is a part of the Jordan Neely situation, but so is the class issue, and so is right,
Yes.
and other subway musicians who are literally right, and people being lit on fire. They love to use that for themselves, but someone like myself who was forced to survive in the subway system, we're not really allowed to talk about it or really asked to be a part of it. And it's quite you can see that even within these communities, right? No community is a monolith. They all have this factor going on where, and these causes they want to win. So the fact of the matter, they're all looking for an exploitable resource. And the fact of the matter is that when they talk about Jordan Neely in a black-white framework, it's going to sell more and get a lot more clicks than a face like mine talking about Jordan Neely, because I don't look like an activist. I don't look like someone who's poor. I don't look like someone that they understand. So for marketing reasons, I understand that. And it's quite, so yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah, yeah, I like my like I always think, for example, in like, so like I try to make community work, right? It's so hard. And then like, and there's nothing, no real accomplishment. And I think of like in Germany, the Afro-German community were like mobilized and organized themselves. Like it's just really 24/7. And then like, because also Audre Lorde from the US came like to Germany for like, I don't know, like very few years. And I think in that sense, I understand class struggle. I understand like, but it's like much more like we cannot just like talk about it like just like one talk or like highlighting it and then assume that there's not, it is the community issue. And people work on it for decades, right? And look where they also like there. We shouldn't focus on the failures and stuff like that. In that sense, like because then we miss the point where people work on it, right? So because we have like black capitalism, for example, and how they highlight like the exploitation part and stuff, and we have to see like how the black community build themselves or like defend and even in solidarity working for others is like a whole system of thought. It's a whole thing for decades for fight for like risk that people died for that. this accomplishment, which also is the media and stuff like that. And there's still an ongoing fight, but like to be respectful to that, like if we start, like, I mean, I understand your point of view, right? I hear you, like, and I agree with you that, like, okay, we're to like highlight the reality of like street artists and street, like, people from the street. It's a very different, like, it needs a different form of like respectful, like, handling in that sense. But this is like built through like like how we take care of each other with our backgrounds in that
No,
sense,
I
like we
respect and
doing.
love the Black movement, but it's not their responsibility to fight for us. We have to create our own movement as well.
Yes, that's what I
Yeah,
wanted to say. Yes.
appreciate it. Okay.
Yeah, and I, like, I don't know how to um like, I mean, it's maybe like it's a different way of like how to understand multi-marginalized minority feeling, right? Like, because when we go, and I'm just also confused of like when you highlight like some politicians and stuff, like, I don't like to feel like okay, do we do the same in a sense of like taking advantage of like other people's movements, right? Like, I mean, when I like try to join to Albany, just try to focus on like to make it like just leave it just like how I still don't know how to do that, like that even if I say like, it's important, like the message is important, and the message is like the injustice to like in the prison system, and even to shut down all this prison system, that how the prison system is just like a capitalistic exploitation towards like the poor and stuff. To show, I just don't know.
Well, there are some issues, just so you know, that I wasn't able to talk about last night, such as the Civilian Review Board. The fact of the matter that Civilian Review Board is very little civilian about it. Most of the people sitting on Civilian Review Board are actually political appointees. And the thing is that the mayor doesn't want to have something bad happen on his watch, so they're incentivized not to actually hold anybody accountable. So there's also the judges that I talked about, right? The thing is that people want to go to the governor. The governor can do some things, but a lot of times the end result is happening in the lawsuit, right? Where the judge actually interprets the law. So the thing is that we could pass any law you want, but the law on the streets and the law on the paper is very different things. And really, just because a law is there doesn't mean that they're implementing it or enforcing it, or enforcing it correctly or as written. So once again, like we said before, that the change comes from the people. It comes from the community, not from the leaders. The leaders can help guide and shape it, but in the end, it's really up to us. So
Yeah, but like, what do you think about like if for example, if more people are in Albany on the buses and there, and then so as more kind of people will be there, then it means that it will also it can spread to a higher, like,
okay,
more
so really, tell you the truth,
notion.
just being active for a long time, going to Albany has its place. Okay, not saying it's completely useless, but the really, really real in this game is being able to control the votes. Now, if you got 100,000 people in Albany, it sends a message that, oh, the people might vote in someone else, or a lot of voters really care about this issue, right? People could also call their senator. They could even, right? They don't have to use all that gas of going to Albany, right? But what they do is they create a photo opportunity, right? So they can market, right? Oh, look at all these 1,000 people in Albany saying that we want change. But let's look at just to let you know nothing about the Palestinian movement, right? Why it's failing. Okay. If we take a look at Columbia University, where thousands of students were on campus setting up tents and all this other cute little business, right? Showing that they're unhappy. Okay. And I could show you right now on the screen right now, in the 69th Assembly District where Columbia is, okay? The thing is that there was actually the only candidate. Okay, let me show you right here, okay? This is why the anti-war movement is failing. And you know, okay, let me just share this with you. Thank you for taking a look. Okay, yeah, okay. Here we can see New York State's 69th Assembly District. You can see that this includes Manhattan, Upper West Side, which also includes the main campus of Columbia University in this district. You see that?
Yeah.
Okay. I scroll down and you can see that Michael Lasher won with 52.6% of the votes. Let's look at Michael Lasher right here. Michael Lasher. Okay. And I'm going to type in the words Solidarity PAC. By the way, I was working for Carmen Quinones, who would have been the first tenant association president of public housing in state history to win office. Now here you can see this. This says that the Eli Northrop condensed Solidarity PAC endorsement by Michael Lasher. The Solidarity PAC is actually a pro-Israel, the larger pro-Israel group, a state-focused committee, the larger pro-Israel political group that works to support Democratic opponents. Okay, so the only candidate supported by the Solidarity PAC, right? Yeah, the pro-Israel PAC is the one who won where Columbia University is. They're not allowed to actually, right? A lot of these white socialist leaders, like People's Forum, right? They make sure that the students do not get involved in electoral politics in a way that's effective. That's why the Republicans and Democrats fall over themselves to support Israel. If the people were allowed to actually work together to actually, you have a rally, maybe 10% of those people vote. We have the list of the people that actually vote in the voter database, right? You see this actual, you see the addresses there?
Yeah.
We know exactly who voted and we can go directly to their homes. This is what the politicians do when they want to actually win their races. We could go directly to them and say, you know, we're going to work on this policy and make sure that these districts here are going to actually make sure they vote in the people that are supporting the policies that we want. But instead of actually following with this type of strategy where they would actually win or have an impact, they go and do a lot of performative stuff, set up a tent, right? Yeah, not right. And the thing is that the politicians know that those kids are not actually voting or actually filling in voter registration cards. And when someone like me shows up, the white socialist leaders who want to have a revolution, how can you have a revolution when you can't even take over a ballot box? Right? They push war victims like myself out of the way with they work with the disabilities, the second largest minority voting group in the nation, who's working with the longest wrongfully incarcerated men in New York State history, Otis Johnson, and Pennsylvania with a direct tie to Mamibu Jamal, with contacts all over, right? I told you earlier before we started meeting today about my contacts in Los Angeles, right? At Radio Korea TV, right? Who could also help carry this message. No. Because I'm considered to be the competition, these actually people like Medea Benjamin, like Jill Stein, who are millionaires, right? Yeah, they push me out of the way and they silence me and they shut me up. They have the rest of the Asian American community working with them, giving them jobs, hooking them up with salaries, right? Giving them access to recognized artists of the year and stuff like that, while I am blackballed and blacklisted. It is insane, right? So that's
I still don't understand what it means, blacklisted. Like,
blacklisted means that this guy right here is not cool, and if you're and nobody talked to him. We're not going to cover him in the news. We're not going to allow him to speak at any events, and we're not going to have people. In fact, I'm surprised that nobody's called you yet and said, "Oh, DJL7, don't work with him," because a lot of people that start talking to me, they'll get that call. Eventually, you're going to get that call. Someone's going to say, DJL7, he's got problems. Don't talk to him. He's a crazy guy. They're going to say all this shit to you. Because
yeah,
but
like I wouldn't like as the like I'm like a little bit like, hey, when it's about I might sound like in that sense ignorant or dismissive in the sense I just wonder when it's about like I don't like voting things. I don't like things with votes because like it goes for me always like to reformative actions and it's not really empowering in that sense sometimes. Like and
look, I'm helping with people that are facing imminent eviction, people that have been wrongfully incarcerated for decades, people that are actually dying right now under in the correctional system. But you can't vote. So why are you going to Albany? Why are you having these protests? Who's supposed to see these protests? The president? The governor? Why? If you want to do the revolution, go ahead, get a gun and go out and shoot them. Or actually try to do things through the electoral process. If you look, I'm not saying it's all bad, right? But if you're either do your revolution stuff, right, or work with us. But while people are not voting and out there, right, setting up tents and shit, you know what I mean? I'm not saying that's all bad, right? It has some value, right? Yeah. People are fucking. People are dying. People are suffering. People are being jailed. People are still getting beat down. Maybe right. I'm not saying that voting is all necessary, but it's a way. How are you going to have a socialist revolution? You can't even take over a ballot box.
But
Once
then, like,
thousands of kids, I'm sorry, yeah, thousands of kids are on Columbia campus, right, protesting. You can't mobilize those kids to even flip the district right there to actually have the non-Israel supporting candidate win. I mean, look, maybe if that's not the way, right, to take things. Look, you don't have to vote if you don't. I'm not mad at that, right? Like you're not even a citizen, right? So like, but is what I'm saying making sense? Like, why are they going to Albany and spending all that gas, right? Yeah, while I'm begging on the train, right? Yeah, there's no help for me, right? Look at the body work that I've done. We made this voter database available free to the public. You can go directly to the voters. Hey, who are you trying to convince to stop the war? I'm sorry. Go ahead. Maybe you have an answer because I don't really understand.
No, like
they go to the governor's office then.
When like it's a different I think entity of like how to like who to and how to fight back things, like because Albany, like showing up to Albany, it's not just like the presence of the masses and the body is the resistance already, like it, like the mental impact towards like the people who do the violence, like the police officers and the people
What
even
about Luigi?
I don't really know.
From the healthcare
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Look, if people want to be revolutionaries, right? Yeah. Look, I'm not going to get in the way, you know what I mean? But the fact of the matter is that that's not my style. But if these people want to do a revolution, do a revolution. If you want to actually, right, help people through electoral processing, talk to the governor and the state elected officials, then go that route. Choose one or the other, but make progress. But if you're just going to set up some tents and say, we want to support Palestine, and then you go home and you never affected the electoral process, you never actually had a revolution, but you felt good about yourself and went home, people are still dying. Well, where's the progress? Oh, we're going to shut it down. Shut it down then. Shut it down.
Like the I like, for example, when you say like the voters, like this sounds like a different method, which is like I don't say like I don't agree to that, but like so the different method would be when it's about like the voters. We had the same issue with in Germany, that there's a lot of like movement on the street, but like when it comes to like this political frameworks, that people actually don't know who's doing the like who was doing the
why go to the governor's office? Why go to the elected officials? Right? Like I don't get it. Like why go to elected officials if you don't want to engage in the electoral process?
Because like it's like it's a different approach towards like reaching the people in that institution, like to prevent them to do this, like to do specific like without any concerns, like their racist decisions, you know, like it's just like a different form of prevention. But like, yeah, so if the method I mean, like, you mean like looking to like in Japan, there's also just one person on the street, older man.
I don't think they should go to the governor's office. They should just go to Marcy Correctional Prison and go shut that down and break everybody out then. You know what I mean? Why are they going to the governor's office? If they want to do direct action and just go and break people out and save people, or do they want to go ask an elected official who's got to win their election to right? You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't make sense to me, right?
Yeah, because but both
go to Marcy Correctional Facility then.
But like don't you, like, I have no idea about like, you know, the areas, the politicians and stuff like this. I don't have any, like, I cannot even trust this, like, because I don't know them, right? So, and that's like, so when you say like, so when the people, so the masses, when they say, hey, we should go there, so support also the community there, and then like to make kind of for the environment there, because there in this environment is the violence, that they like do whatever like without any repercussions, without any kind of concerns, right? Like they are massive like violent people, like without any kind of like boundaries, right? So that's why we have to go there, to prevent that the people like think that they are alone or whatever. So it's like, this is like one approach to just stop like mass violence. It's not just like to make some decisions. It's about like the people, the police people. It's about the citizens there, racist citizens there, or like it's about the racist people in the government, but also like in these official buildings and stuff, right? Like it's about, because people live with their own self image reflected from like certain people. So if people try to crack down and like seeing themselves bad, like when their own people, you know, when like, so it's just like how to prevent sometimes, like in that sense, like violence, but like I like a little bit more than the bigger picture of violence, what we don't see, right? And then like going to, for example, not taking in the masses there without this concern, like what will happen, like without having this in the picture would be for me like difficult, when like we can combine both, that people do both, but like it's also about capacities, like to think about like, okay, if you just won't vote here, and then think kind of like more in a reformist way of like, if you do vote things, then you vote into a system that were from the beginning made against you, right? Like so it's just like, and to have like some facts of like the leader or like the politician there, that to believe in a person that is not even a part of the community and part of like the poor, or a part of like, you know, being in the town hall and stuff. And it's like also a trust issue in that sense. But like if you, for example, believe in that, and like I would think like, hey, why not like just making the flyers and just like standing like being like, that's what I try, right? Like I try to connect in each movement, each community meeting from different communities. I try to reach out, or I try to get connected with like, especially like people with the Asian background, to get together to organize and stuff like this, and then to do your own agenda, with the understanding of like, what can we actually do, what are our resources and our connections to the course, but without taking over again, like that kind of like the other people's like movements and belief. Because there's also like for me, it's like a trust, because I cannot it's already difficult to be respectful in these spaces. And like, I mean, I'm also super angry because like I come from a place in Berlin where I'm frustrated, where we all worked very differently together. Like we know each other more, like we literally standing up, like we mentioning always never like one course. We always mentioned like in the Asian community, we mentioned we have to, that's like rule number one, mention like Black, disability, and like Roma and Sinti, like people who are very like like the poor and stuff, like, and refugees. We like refugees are main.
One thing I've been trying to do for a long time is trying to get like the Asian American, like you know, like Ron Kim, Grace Lee, Linda Lee, to take a position on the Israel-Palestine thing, right? Koreans are very, I don't know of any Vietnamese, you know, elected officials that are really in office, but once again, Asian isn't technically Palestinian Americans are Asian American, right? So it is what it is. Shout out to 12 Veils. She was actually with us yesterday at the thing. The naked background is distracting. Sorry, just gonna have to deal with it. 12 Veils, just have to focus. No, it's okay. Hey, look, don't bother me. There you go. How you feel better, 12? It is what it is. Yeah. Don't worry about it. Yeah. You putting your head in the way was great. Yeah. You don't need to do all that. Oh wow. Okay. All right, 12. That's just 12. Yeah. Don't worry about it. Some people will like it. That's 12, not me. Yeah.
It's not my place.
Okay.
Sorry.
All right. It is okay. All right. So, all right.
Oh my gosh. Sorry.
All right, so now that I really appreciate your time. Maybe there's a way that we could work together once again, right? Our
Yeah,
community, we got to
sure.
lock it down, and let's see if we can. I'm really excited. Maybe we can work together, right? A lot of these agencies are scared for their funding, so they're actually all blackballing me. But I would love to actually, Notre Tool, which is actually the Korean American group, is really beholden to PSL and People's Forum and Medea Benjamin and Brian Becker, and that's why they can't work with me, because they got instructions from the white millionaires at the top who are protecting their ability to market their books on the Jimmy Dore show. And that's why they're blackballing me, despite my body of work and my knowledge and unique, So they don't have to work with me, I guess, right? But I'll work with you, and maybe we can pressure Asian American politicians here right now. I would really love that, and that would be amazing. Yeah.
But like it's just like one approach. Like for example, I'm focusing on more like how to politicize, like how, because people suffer, like they're not able, like young people also, they have no space really to talk about the issues with like background, family, and the history and stuff. Like it's always a two ways. Like one is like,
Well, it takes money to create those spaces, right? And the fact of the matter is that I also do a lot of student activism. And just so you know, a lot of times a lot of the movements are co-opted. So I know like DSA, right? Just so you know, I don't know if you've heard of DSA, Democratic Socialists of America. The executive board, which actually had a record number of people leave due to their refusal to work on the Palestine issue. So since they had so many problems, oh, you know about that? Okay. Since they
no,
had so
no,
many problems now, they're actually trying to go the other direction, right? Since they had record levels of people leave their party. But they actually have a space, right, where they can have youth like get together and have conversations. So does right a lot of these other right young Republicans. They actually have like a huge club space, right? Yeah, where they have all these parties and stuff. But actually dedicated actors like me that are begging on the streets, right? I don't have the space to actually create for youth to actually have conversation. The parents don't want them to talk to me. They want to go meet with the senator who's going to give their kid an internship for the summer, right? Yeah, and then get to hang out with the people that are with power and money and access. Not, I'm actually, right? How many parents want their kids working with me when I'm blackballed, right? And all my work, right?
but this
They
is
don't
an
want that
issue.
for children. Yeah, go
But
ahead.
so like this is the thing about our community. Like it's the class struggle. Like I swear, like with class struggle, like how capitalistic people are, and like and the power and the majority is towards like the class, and this is like, that's like a issue, that like this is like how, like the issue is like, okay, how people marginalize you and me, right? The same happened to me. So when they, so first they say things like from like also Vietnamese background, Vietnamese, yeah, or like Asian, who were more privileged to be connected with some even white folks, and get support for selling their books or whatever, like, you know, like all these things. It's a capitalistic corruption thing, but like so what happened to me is similar in the sense of, first they say things like, okay, here, do your homework, like if you don't know XYZ. So they sent me like the first person sent me like an email with minimum hundreds of links, right? And then I was first of all overwhelmed as a young person. Second of all, like I felt so much like guilt and like I felt bad because I was treated like an ignorant, like lazy, like shit, right? Like do your fucking homework. Like I don't work with you. You're not worth it. You don't have no value if you don't do your homework. Like you don't show any kind of activism, right? So that it took me years that I like slowly go through that, because it's like oppression. That's like how you take advantage of knowledge, and you abuse your knowledge towards others, and that's what happens all the time. The violence and the abuse, and then like you do that, and then you know what happened after, like I do my homework, they like, look at you, you're so privileged, that's why you could do that, right? Like so because I grew up with like always like, I don't know, 3 jobs or whatever, I was like
There's no way
working
to win
on.
with these people.
Yeah, but like this is the problem where what I mean, we have to look back on like other movement, other people who did, like who were like, I mean, when I said like, okay, I was like crying and stuff like this because like my accommodation as an autistic person is like in places not met and not understood, and then I like feel like a failure and cannot connect. But like when there are people on the street, like when people try to enter higher education, like and getting threats with like that, when their lives getting threats literally because of the hatred and stuff, it's a different level. It's a different thing. I don't know how to say it, but we have like this psychological warfare with like class and the devaluation. There's this very different class. That's not even we need maybe a different term, right, for class struggles, like class oppression, violence, or psychological white class shit or whatever. Yeah, like but like if you look into the Asian Americans or Asian communities or stuff like that, yeah. So I mean, when we talk about like, for example, Palestinians, like West Asians, like there's like an understanding of like, okay, there's there's one different notion of like the like Muslim part and like the stigma of like the terrorism thing. It's a different violence, right? So same but different. It should like ignore, like I don't know, like this is the main issue I have, and I would love just to talk about this more, to find a, you need to make a common like real brainstorming and like study this shit of like what is actually our position in this like colonial warfare, right? Because people have used us. That's why people like the West has like use us to a specific I call it Pokemon position, because they caught us, trained us, like they get trained from the West, and then to how to fight against your own community. That's how Pokemon works, right? Like you catch from the peaceful
That's
environment of the
exactly what's happening to
community.
our people, 100%. They are
Yeah,
that's why, the Asian American youth are actually shut off from me, because they're being controlled by white millionaire socialists, unfortunately, who are not saying socialism has to be bad, but why is the top person a white millionaire? And why are they not helping poor people or involved with poor people? It's real weird. So, right, I'm not saying yeah.
we just have to, like, the thing is not just like fight back and like white and black, and this is kind of like right or wrong, whatever. But like I think like, okay, what is actually the real complex and the real struggle we face? It's like we don't look into like the real trauma that was put into the community to get splitted, right? Like in that sense.
Yeah.
Like I mean, how was it like it's possible you have North and South Korea? How it was possible it has like North and South Vietnamese, right? Like there must be something violently, like deeply done that it allow people to continue more with a literal, like normalized way of thinking. Yeah, morally good is like just survival. So everything what's this is the mentality of human trafficking too, right? Like you have to understand, like we have like all like this kind of like very not psychopathic but like almost serial killer way of like there's a very deep issue in that like ignorance. Like it's not just like this ignorance is the same of like ignoring the fact that you had a whole history, that you were one community or background, same language, to just see then immediately you're the enemy, right?
Well, I think that right now, honestly, uh, I really want to set up your meetings with a lot of other people, because just being Vietnamese, which actually, we know that North and South Vietnam was able to come together. You also lived in East Berlin and got to see the Germanys come together. Being Korean American, right? If people want to have peace on the Korean Peninsula, I think you actually have a lot of unique perspective and knowledge as terms of, and maybe be able to share your experience of that from multiple communities of also being displaced. I really think that you're a fantastic find and a fantastic resource. And people just, right, I think the youth, if any youth are watching my show, I plan on doing more work with No Name. I'm going to actually, is it all right if I share your Instagram?
Yeah, please.
Okay, sure. Okay.
Yeah.
So we're going to
Because
share that on the screen right now. Go ahead.
one fact about my upbringing, like I with a Southern Vietnamese background, right? Like I have like, yeah, with a Southern Vietnamese background, I grew up with like Northern Vietnamese people, in my environment, I felt like very discriminated. And that
Totally.
was one reason. That was one reason why I wanted to get in contact or get in touch with like the. It came to America to like get in touch with like Southern Vietnamese communities who have experienced like the Vietnam War or like the consequences of it, and in that sense, like yeah, to get like this is like the thing of like how people get splitted, how people just get against, or whatever, how community and solidarity works, or how to feel actually deeply
I'm
connected. That yeah.
Yeah. By the way, just I know that the Koreans overall have a lot of support for Palestine, just overall, even the Republican ones, because of the way that their communities were manipulated after the war. We see that Vietnamese people are also very Palestine kind of sympathetic, or maybe not as much.
Yeah, I just don't understand why. Like because like how the bombs, like how like we talk about, like I don't know how people like my mom was like uh when we were in Germany crying all the time, looking to the news, crying all the time about like the farmers, like what happened to like people in the suburbs and stuff like this, to the poor people. And yeah, and I just don't understand why anyone in the, especially with the Vietnamese background or in the Vietnam War background, don't don't immediately understand the wrongness in the genocide in Palestine and just stand for them. Like I don't understand how the world was standing for like peace, for like stop the war in Vietnam. I don't understand how we cannot like why, where are we? I don't understand. I don't really understand that.
Yeah, and they're
And
not really invited in the conversation anyways, right? They want to not talk about it at all. So we're gonna have to do it on our own. I think once again, you're a phenomenal. I plan on really mining this well for a lot, right? And usually last question is, but we could talk about our own stuff. I know it's been a couple hours already. I really
yeah,
you're a very unique person in my book, and I'm very thankful for your time here. But now that
thank
people have
you.
your information, right? Is there any other social media they should follow you on? Maybe Twitter, or maybe you have your own website. How can people? I'm really
No,
interested in people following
yeah.
you more than any organization, because organizations change, but you'll develop, and you'll be a lot of candidates. They drop out after they don't win, or their time is over, right? But you're
Like
gonna.
I'm autistic, that's why I cannot, like it's very difficult for me already with medias and stuff. Like I just started with like the Insta thing because okay, I'm always afraid to get like because all the media things, like that's why I don't have Twitter or like don't have like WhatsApp and all these things, because like as autistic person, it is very intense for me, and it's a lot. It's like you go, I don't know, 6 hours to hardcore boot camp gym or whatever for the brain. So like to yeah, like reach out, but like have in mind, okay, the organization communication will be like, yeah, I try just to make everything like through this Instagram thing. I don't know, like that's why I wrote down trial, because try to make a space, because people are like especially Vietnamese or Southeast Asian people like are super critical, and sometimes it's not a kind way of talking because we are super skeptical and critical. It comes from a place I understand, no trust, no unconditional love, whatever. You experience the violence too. Yeah, like yeah, to reach out. We need, like it will be a trial, so we have like the way we communicate, how we have to met the needs and expectation, how to get in touch and approach our understanding of like different places where we come from and stuff. But like yeah, like follow me on like yeah the Instagram part, join, be part of like a decolonial like vietspectrum, or like yeah, the movements, and that show up mainly up to all like the appointments that I try to share from different communities and meetings and stuff, because it's all about not following. It's all about being like activated for yourself, right? Like
Yeah.
it's like more yeah, it's a non-leaders movement. So revolution means process. Process means like you have a perception of like just a consistency and yeah, just like a
On
non-static.
Instagram, if you follow her, you might see a picture of me and her together at Governor Hochul's office on the 14th. I know that's something we got planned in the future. Are there any other future? This is usually the last question, then we can go off to our own thing. But is there any other future plans that you have for yourself as an activist, right? Besides this, I know you're actually going to Connecticut soon. Oh my goodness, yeah, I do have some people in Connecticut actually. Interestingly
Yeah,
enough,
this would be cool. This would be cool. So I try to approach like to make a community work. Like I would like to make like space that we can just like talk. Like I guess like online meeting, talk to each other like regularly, and then to brainstorm
I would
how
love to
to.
do that with you. I'm really,
Yes,
just so
yes.
you know, I'm also have a presence with other media producers in Los Angeles, the second largest market in the nation, Chicago, the third largest market in the nation, people in Texas, Pennsylvania. So having another person in Connecticut to actually help interact with our team, I think would be very good to create a national. There's a lot of business that goes down in Connecticut
Yeah.
because Connecticut's one of the most wealthy states in the nation and is used for a lot of political fundraising. There's a lot of stuff going on there. So Connecticut is actually very good to have that information. And even though I'm sad that you're not going to be in New York, even where that's where I really want you.
But I will come back. I will come back.
Yeah, it's not that far, right? Actually, a lot of people commute from Connecticut
Yes,
to New York on a
yes.
regular basis. So,
Yeah.
but do you have your own car, right? The congestion pricing, and we're not going to get into that, right? So
No, I
that's
don't have
pretty much this
car.
interview. There is some other stuff I'd like to. There's other stuff we could talk about. I don't want to keep you forever, but I really just love talking to you.
No, it's fine. Like I'm
Like
autistic. I can talk for hours, like decades. Like I can, yeah. Like
is there anything else that you wanted to bring up in the program? Online. I'm actually gonna maybe even show you some videos of my work. I don't know if you got to see any of it, but maybe. Also, I think that you sent me the original message that there might be some disagreements or something.
Yeah,
Maybe
because
talk
like
my Trump
with the
stuff.
forum, like yeah, I'm just always afraid of like like I mean in the forum, for example, when you were highlight like everyone was talking about like the trauma was like police fight, like I mean being imprisoned innocently even or losing people, and when you highlight like in the in that space, as you even said, like not everyone was able to speak, right? And then like
Yeah,
having the time to speak and like I was like to be just to be direct and honest, like I could follow like where it was going from like the black community, right? Like to how to deal with like the trauma and how to deal like how to stand up for each other and how to what we should do like and like how we should understand each other and treat each other with respect. That's why I was thinking like, okay, ubuntu, like there's like there's the philosophy of like you have to know exactly kind of the experience of others or listen to experience of others and then to treat the experience of others, especially when it comes to their survival, with respect, right? That's why like everything who like knows or went through like the Korean the violence on the Koreans and then the Vietnam War and stuff, like there's a certain respect, doesn't matter which kind of ideology and political disagreements and you things you
but
have, there's a specific.
isn't it impossible for people to know everybody else's experience?
No, but they were talking about it, right? They were talking about it. And then when you went on stage and then highlight like, hey, you have to like go vote, like and it was like difficult, like it was like it was I could like hear the issue and the urgency, but it felt like a blame on them, like, and that was like for me like just like okay, if we have to approach like if the message is really like we have to vote because of like this little thing, like then there must be like how you say it, is there like there must be the work of like building like I made the mistake too. I went to other spaces and demand immediately the trust and like respect towards me, but who am I, right? Like I had to earn it, right? I had to earn like by like, and that I learned it then through the active part, like I joined any kind of like Palestinian movement and meetings and or Kurdish or Rojava in the sense or like I showed up. I made like I spent time. I spent money. I spent like my
Yeah.
heart for it, right?
Oh,
And
I
then
mean, my
I have.
message wasn't really that we have to vote. My message was we have to obtain power,
Okay,
right?
I
So
didn't
that
get that. Like
I'm sorry.
I just saw. I just heard very loud. Look
Voter
at this list of
database.
voters,
Yeah,
database, and then like it was very
we can
complex
use
because
it.
I couldn't jump. I couldn't jump from like I was crying. Like the all like the injustice and like cultural shock and like people were talking from trauma and like from like their pain. They were speaking from their pain, right? And
Yeah.
then jumping to like an illogical sense of like, we have to do this, like here's the wilderness, and then like it was like it felt like there was completely the framework missing where you come from, and like
Didn't
there
have
was
time. Yeah. I wish I
yeah,
could.
there was, yes,
Yeah.
there was no
I didn't have time.
time, and there was no like even awareness to it, like in the sense of like I talk with you right now like for hours, right, to understand
Yeah.
like even remind myself like, oh, okay, so there's like Korean history and stuff, and then like there's a connection to other, like, it's like, because we like, this is the thing what we have to work on first. These are our requirements to be even able to communicate, because they did the work too. Police, the police did the work too, right? Like, and then we cannot skip the work. We have to skip the work. We have to make the work of raising awareness first, and we do it by like raising the awareness of our community first.
Which work did they do?
Like the awareness of like how we for example got to know like to the event, the town hall event, right? Like the whole history of like raising awareness to even get together, to even like how it's like to know about like the history and the violence of like police brutality and stuff. There's like a whole decades of like a whole fight to in every area internationally even, right? Like the topic of police brutality, the topic of Edward Said, like, right, like these accomplishers who were fighting, like they were individual. Like, do you know any kind of like I don't know, for example, any like Korean activist scholar in school or like whatever, like like I don't know Vietnamese, I don't even know either, right? Like it took me like decades to find even one or whatever, but they had like some, but they risked their life for it, they died, right? Like if
Yeah.
one of my leader would die in that sense, a kid killed, like Tina Han, like the peace movement leader from the Buddhist community worldwide, like did the things, is still like just still alive, but like it's like getting old. It's a different pain. It's a different thing, right? And then like if anyone taught like Palestine is for me like so resonating in the sense of like, if it happened again in my lifetime with the Vietnam War, like that they, because I thought like, oh my God, it's like happening again because like some fights on the sea, on the Chinese Sea and stuff. Like the tiny, very tiny incident, like tiny imagination of land will be again second time in war, and all the older elders and poor who were that I looked like that I followed how they built their lives slowly, because some of my uncles were like orphans on the street and growing up and kind of doing fine now, or like survive. And if this would come up again, I would be destroyed. I don't even know how to handle with the pain any kind of work and communicate with any kind of person. I would not be a person, and we have to understand and have compassion in that sense, right? Like how can we like how can I expect from any like black and brown person like, hey, be nice to me, respect me, when these things are going on that destroy like your heart and soul
This
all
is
the
a
time.
huge barrier to my work, because the fact of the matter is that I don't look like an activist. People have never heard of an Asian American activist before. And even though I have a lot of work, right, and I can show that to you, I can show that even to you now, right? I could show you my huge body of work. It is not celebrated or acknowledged. So the fact of the matter is that when I walk into a place, they give me, right, they gave people 3 minutes. I only had 2 minutes to talk. I timed myself later. I said that was kind of short. And you know what, maybe the guy was just like looking at the wrong minute hand on the clock. Maybe it was just off by one. But the fact of the matter is that when I walk into a space, there's a lot of assumptions made about my credibility, about my integrity, why I'm there. I'm not black. I've never been incarcerated. Why am I even there? I was, in my original speech, I was going to address those things, but I just don't have time. And people don't have the time to listen to a nobody like me who doesn't look like an activist. They know I don't have a following that they can exploit. So there's actually zero interest and all kinds of violence. When you see how when I'm looking at you now, you see how like when I come down, you see how my eyes come apart? You see how my pupils come apart? You see how they're not the same?
Yeah.
Okay? That's because I got punched in the eye so bad that it fractured the suborbital bone in my... I got my face smashed with a 2x4. This is all on video. But, right?
From who?
while I was actually okay,
I'm
so
sorry.
I was no, actually, just so you know, Andrew Yang. I don't know if you know who Andrew Yang is. His whole
Same.
entire staff is white, and the thing is that after Grace Meng got involved with this campaign, they took all the money that was supposed to be going for Asian Americans and redirected towards the Israeli state. Even though I try to bring up this issue to the Palestinians, right, to People's Forum, Palestinian Youth Movement, right, within our lifetime, and all these organizations, Arab American Association in Bay Ridge, I have documentation of all of this, right? Never went to work on any of those things. The Asian American curriculum, which is now mandatory in New York City schools, I'll show you right now, called Hidden Voices. Oh, you're gonna get a big kick out of this. This is crazy. Okay, check this out. Okay, let me share this with you. This you're gonna be amazed. Thank God I can show someone. I've been trying to tell people. I tell people on the train this all the time. They don't pay attention because I don't look like an. This is the Asian American curriculum called Hidden Voices. It's actually mandatory in New York City schools now. Hidden Voices, Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders in United States history. I'm going to. Okay, I'm opening up that PDF right there. That's in another screen. So let me actually stop sharing this one, and open up the actual PDF, which is opening up now. This is how insane this once again, the people who are running the anti-war movement, right? They are making sure that these. I think that they're actually set up by the Israeli state, to tell you the truth. The fact of the matter is that they're making sure that people only go protest in the street while they set the future for failure. Here we actually, it's almost unloading. Okay, the blue thing is almost at the end. As soon as that loads, it'll load in the whole entire curriculum. Okay, it should be there any moment. Okay, here it is. Okay, I see it on the screen now. Okay,
Yeah.
I can do a text search. And if I do a text search for the word, let's say Korea, right? Yeah. You can see that there's like 130, like 60 instances of the word Korea, right?
Yeah.
If I do a work for the word Palestine, right? Yeah. This should find the word Palestine or Palestinian. There is zero mention of them in the Asian American curriculum. When you look at today's events going on, they erased Palestinian Americans from history. I've been trying to. Why isn't anybody talking about this in the Palestinian war movement? They don't care because
No,
it's very strange. And
I would.
go
No,
ahead.
no, I would like. I talked to some like young activists in like in school or like in the university, like very young people, um, even as non Palestinians, like fighting for Palestinian thing. It's just like the like I don't okay to highlight that the things are not in the history books is one major thing. Like I mean, what is like what what is like the main like I mean there are different priorities in the movement, right? Like what would this like contribute in the movement?
People. Okay, so the thing is that Asian Americans, right? Today's when you take a look at like imperialism, when you take a look at right Western powers interfering in other countries like Vietnam, like Korea, like Israel, right? Japan, I'm Palestine. This is so relevant towards understanding the Asian American experience. It's 100% relevant, right?
Again, but wait, like, but this is the educational part of like, targeting like young people in school or in the education system
It's
that they should
also
know.
erasing, right, their knowledge of Palestinian Americans' contribution to American society. It's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
they never existed. So we're going to erase anything they've achieved, accomplished, sacrificed. We're going to pretend like it never happened. So Palestinians, right, the same thing that happens to you, Koreans and Vietnamese, they're rich, they're do well in school, they're not really suffering. They don't have violence, right? Like they're not oppressed peoples. In fact, they're
Let's say
relatively.
let's change a little bit the narrative, right?
I'm
Like
sorry, go
that's
ahead. Yeah.
already revolutionary. Of like, they're not do well in school, in a sense. Like there there must be in different. There must be different centers. I think like there must. It's not about being like I can of course do well if
Yeah.
I kind of have different prejudices, like get different violence, right? Like, I mean, if I don't get violence, then I do, of course, well. But the others get violence and they do not well. So it's not about like the individual capacities of doing well. It's like more about doing like being like accepted or tolerated. Like, I don't know. I mean, I don't know which word is missing,
They
but
teach you
like,
conformity. You got to
yeah,
conform to their standards, their values, their priorities. And your priorities, your own experiences mean nothing. In fact, if you achieve something, we're just going to take it from you, attribute it to someone else who is comfortable for us, and you need to go back down to wherever you came from.
yeah.
Okay, not
Like,
good luck.
I
Yeah,
mean,
good luck, buddy.
no, I mean, like, so, I mean, the thing of like doing well in school, right? I mean, I'm like, I experience like like, how you say it, the difference in schools, like when someone had the prejudice, I'm good in math, is different from having a prejudice towards like in brown community, like in my own class, that uh like being very like differently treated, like with more violence. Does it make sense? Like, if I'm sitting next to a black and brown person and they get beaten up mentally, and I'm like not getting beaten up and just like uh, um, a different form of alienated as a yeah, if I just get like differently alienated, then of course I do good, because like I'm not getting.
I don't think I don't think it's possible to be an Asian American outnumbered so. You said like a lot of times you're the only Asian American person around, right? You're the minority. You're the weird one. You're the outside one. I don't think even an Asian American buys into white supremacy and decides that they're going to try to, right? I don't date other Asian Americans, or, I'm not really Asian American. They deny that. They're still, right, committing an act of violence upon themselves. I don't think it's
Yeah.
possible for Asian Americans in this situation to be the black and brown person in the press, but the Asian person is not. I think the Asian person, I don't think it's possible.
Yeah, but that's why I try to
I'm sorry,
get like, no. That's why I want to talk with like that we have to talk about it. We have to define what it is. We have to find like what actually happens to us. What do white supremacy is doing to us? Like, we have to make a stand. We need a proper like, modern minority doesn't work for me. It's not from like, it's not talking resonates with me. Like, I need a different concept. I need a different theory. I need a different voice, a different collective definition of like the Pokemon effect, right? Like you say it, even it's violence. Yeah, it's violent in a way of like being alienated and being made white, or white way of thinking, and then attacking kind of like others, black and brown and whatever. But like against my will, against my own family even. And it's right, it's violent, and I don't even understand what like in which way it's like violent and ignorant and whatever, right? Like being trained as a white supremacist somehow, or like like people call it in other ways like Uncle Tom and stuff, but this is not even the same. So that's why, like, I mean, like, okay, we need like a knowledge production from within, like from the street, from our working class like background, stuff like this. But if we don't talk, if we don't brainstorm together, think about together, and then even write it down, right? That as the people get educated, like that they can resonate, right? It's because when they learn from, like, when they start to learn to politicize themselves and try to learn from like other kind of oppressed groups, then like the main thing that happens, like they feel fake or imposter, or they feel like not belonging to them or whatever, and then they like then when there's like this hesitation of like there's something that's like, I don't know, I feel like disconnected, then other people get like angry, like, yeah, you're not human, that's why like you just think about your own privileges and stuff. But this is the whole the complex that we have to work on it. We have to like we have to understand this complex of like, okay, what it means to be alienated in a white cube, and then like completely like Pokemonized. I don't even know. So it's just like, and what exactly we have to listen very deeply to the feelings and highlight this, what actually happens to us. Like, I mean, right? Like, I mean, the it yeah, and only if we can raise that awareness, then the agency can be taken back again, and then we can easily without being completely lost. And that's what I mean. Like, you can sustain consistency by knowing who you are, and doesn't matter where like people like come from and tell you something, like when they say like you don't look like an activist, or you're not black and brown, or you're not like that, and you're like all the things that they tell you, right, will not matter anymore. But like the reason why it matters and it's painful, or like it's exclusive and it's bad, is like because there's something missing where we should stand. Then if we don't stand with them, where do we stand? Like we need our own stand in that matter, right? We know we have to really define our
I
struggle.
need the power.
Yes, and then we
I
can
need the
create
power.
like the power in that sense. And yeah, that's what I really aim to do with like reaching like being then back there, and then like try to talk to the people. But like it's difficult because they don't want to get in any troubles, right? So people are being with like Asian or Vietnamese or whatever, they're like so into survival mood, even passed down from their parents, right? Like the traumatization of like survival and stuff. That there's no chance to. That's why like we have to take the fear somehow away. And people did it very differently in all other communities. They wrote things, but they talk, they speak out loud, they distributed like some flyers with like some quotes, right? Like silence is violence, or like breaks the silence and stuff. And then they make community work. They went to all these violence places, right? To do it again and again and again. Consistency, right? We have to do the consistency and believe in that. And we like, and I swear that's what we will face, is like we're being treated like a sect, like how you call it, cult. Then like what is your yeah, and then like what is the ideology? Like it's just like strange because we will be a minority. No one like knows about people like us, or don't trust our intentions at all. It's all about then the
That
fear of
happens a lot.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. The fear of being
They're
exploited from
not
their
wrong. They're
own.
not wrong, right? But I also find that right, I'm not black and I haven't been incarcerated. Why am I there, right? Because I'm actually someone with less power showing up to a group with more power, asking for help, right? And that's the way help usually works. People usually help people above them, hoping for help back. People don't usually help people below them, right? Because the people below
No, they
them,
do.
right? Yeah,
Like,
that's what
yeah,
I find.
yeah,
I mean,
I
go
do.
ahead. Yeah,
I think they do. Like, I don't know if you know We the People in New York, like with Raleigh.
maybe I got to see him. Yeah,
Like they do like every Thursday and Saturday, like food distribution to like
okay.
poor and homeless people. And yeah, you have to get in contact like with like each of these community. Just look also to the real people on the street, right? And they are like amazing. Like that's why
I
like I
hope so.
cannot. Yeah,
There's a
they
lot
like
of just so you know, just with my insider knowledge of being I've been homeless myself. I've actually worked with a lot of homeless people that are in city thefts, public housing, things like that, right? And just so you know, a lot of the groups that are giving away the free food, right, which I appreciate, that's right, something I do, right? That's one thing that I used to always look out for. I also have work on an international basis of working with the Salvation Army, giving away food, stuff like that. But what happened more recently, especially since the pandemic, is that a lot of people that are giving away the food, right, they are actually part of a political machine that is actually there to actually manufacture consent. Not saying it's all bad, but the fact of the matter is that a lot of these places are getting huge amounts of food. I'm not mad at that, but even just the cost of shipping the food to them is significant, right? And where is that money coming from, and what are the goals of that? I'm not saying it's all bad, but it's not all good either. There's definitely a lot of shenanigans going on around that. Once again,
yeah
why are some organizations getting thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars worth of goods and support and ability? I'm not saying we the people, right? But there's a lot of these Democrat front organizations,
yeah
ESL front organizations that are run by millionaire, that which isn't really asked about or talked about, that actually prevents a lot of poor people from getting getting access. That they'll do a handout, and it's a great it's going on with candidates right now, right? They're having food giveaways, toy giveaways, backpack giveaways. But as in terms of really addressing issues like the Robert Brooks case, or addressing issues like, they don't really take anything controversial. They don't really do anything to actually take on the class structure of the power, right? It's like it's a handout. And the thing is that a handout has some value, but once again, they're not really empowering people themselves. and they're really being kept on the plantation to an extent. So
No,
I
but like
hope
look into Read the People. They're like the one like initiating, like I get like
I
doing
will. I
the
hope
Robert Brooks things. Tomorrow, for example, tomorrow is like in Brooklyn. 1 p.m. Like
no one can be perfect. I don't expect them to be perfect. Not saying no one's all good or all bad,
yeah.
but maybe we'll stop by there together, right? Yeah, I don't want to
Yeah.
get you in
I will
trouble.
be there. I will be
Okay,
there.
and then I'll reach out to the leadership, and then see if they contact me back. Actually, at the
no,
end of
they
this, I'd like to
will.
share.
They are.
We'll
Yeah.
see. We'll see, right? Yeah, you think so? I have my.
I
I've done this
swear.
many times.
No,
Okay.
I swear. This is like real people on the street, like real activists, like who facing
Some
police
of them are
charges.
real. Yeah. A lot of times it's the people on the street that actually get along with people, but once they pass my information up to the leadership has,
There's
and
no
a lot
like no leader. Like they cook their own food at home and then they bring it.
that's good. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like
good.
it's
Okay.
like
Hey, then
real
maybe
act.
that
Yeah.
sounds cool then. Actually, I need to meet these people then. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I'd like to actually show a little bit of my work if can I share you a little
Yeah,
bit of my work
sure.
in Thailand? Okay, cool. I really appreciate it. Yeah. Thank you so much. Okay, let me share my screen. Give me a second. Okay, almost there. Okay, I don't know if you got to see my YouTube over here, but this is my YouTube. Probably the best way to see it is the way that I have these things organized. This is accessing for real people versus concepts. You can see that as we work with the wrongfully incarcerated, I've actually this is actually Mutio Jamu Sebru. He actually has a direct tie to Mamiabu Jamal. I actually wrote Trump to actually to ask him to free Assange, to look in the case of Mamiya Snowden, Nolan, Reverend Keith Gadsden, and Muti's actually the first man freed on DNA evidence in Philly, Pennsylvania history. This is Ronald Long, not Ronald Long from North Carolina, but he's actually his mom is the first black detective in Philly, Pennsylvania history. This is actually I had Otis Johnson, the longest wrongfully incarcerated man in New York State history. He actually was here where we tried to get this issue of the wrongfully. Kamala has a really bad history with the wrongfully incarcerated. I don't know if you know that.
No.
Oh no, she actually has a really bad history with the wrongfully incarcerated, and I offered her people to actually address this situation. We actually even filmed ourselves. Right, this is Mutio Jamu Sebru again calling in from Pennsylvania. This is another lady calling in from Chicago, asking them. This is Corey Edens from Chicago, asking to support investing the cases of these wrongfully incarcerated. Instead of addressing our needs, they spent $1 billion on celebrities. This Vincent Moto, right? He was freed by DNA evidence. That's in Pennsylvania, a very key swing state. Let's see what else here. We also revealed how Josh Shapiro, why he was not the VP pick for Kamala Harris, which is also suppressed in the press. This is actually a historic work where we actually this is actually interesting one with AAPI perspective on Trump indictment. You can see that actually at this event, there was actually someone from Germany there as well, who is saying that what Trump is saying and what the right side is saying is racist. But I pointed out that on this on the side of the lefties, the diversity inclusion people, that there was a huge disparity of Asians on the other side. Not only that, but actually Reverend Keith Gadsden, who was there last night at the Robert Brooks thing, he actually even confirms in this video right here. I say, which side is more willing to listen to your and my issues? And then he says the right side, right? That's a picture of me and you. You know who Yusuf Salam is?
No.
He's one of the Central Park Five that Trump said that, he wanted the death penalty. So that's wrong. This is Yusuf Salam, a New York City council member. So, this is actually something that Malcolm X himself said, right? Let's see if I can play this one right here. Martin Luther King said, "It's, I must confess that what's worse isn't really necessarily the racist, right? The problem is the white moderate, the people that are silent about the good people who are silent versus the bad people who are attacking us."
Yeah.
The greatest stumbling block, in his stride towards freedom is not the white citizen counselor and not the Ku Klux Klan, right? But the white moderate who is more concerned about order and justice over actual. That's me getting choked out by, security guards, PSL type security guards. Even though I'm working on wrongful incarceration, here I actually have the evidence of myself emailing them, calling them, asking for them help. They're not helping me. This is actually when we went to the Central Park. I'm actually there with George Floyd's brother. Um, you know, and you'll see that the white people cancel me regularly, but the black people embrace me. Not all of them, but as it happens way more often than black community. This is Terrence Floyd, George Floyd's brother, right? And he's being introduced to me by this guy was wrongfully incarcerated for a decade. But once again, a lot of the white leadership at PSL and People's Forum, they do everything they can to make sure that I can't say anything and that I get shut out. I can also
don't focus on them. Like the thing is, like for me, I always like anyone who's like a lot of people, famous, good, big, and stuff like this. I don't really pay attention to this. Like
but they
I was
monopolize
with,
access to the youth.
They yes,
monopolize resources. Go ahead.
I learned to organize. I focus only on like the real, I mean, so I learned a lot from like refugee movements and leaders, like in the sense of like who like quality before quantity, right? So to be persistent even with yourself, it's not like
But
helps to
like you said
engage.
earlier, right? Yeah, that because I'm not given time to present why I'm relevant. I'm not given time to communicate with them or connect with them. I'm just given 2 minutes, right? Yeah, I'm just given a brief second because I'm a nobody, right? Yeah, I had actually the third party independent candidates debate in the New York City 21 election cycle, and I've actually had candidates from all over the country get together. This is just in New York City in the 21, and you can see how many different interviews I have with candidates all over. Or this is just in New York City during the 21 election cycle. I've worked with so many candidates, and I've done work all around the nation. I also promote other street artists like Jordan Neely, right? Yeah, who's actually helping street artists? That's me. But when it's time for them to talk about Jordan Neely, because I'm not black, I don't get to say shit. It's ridiculous, right? Even though I'm poorer than a lot of other people in the room. And the black white issue is a relevant issue. I'm not saying it's definitely a big part of it, but there's also the class issue, and that is often thrust aside and is ignored, especially because I'm Asian American, right? So, in the 20.
But this is a conflict. It needs just more. Like yeah, I would try to, like, I face the same, like in the same sense, like what are you doing?
I
Like,
know.
yeah,
I know.
and they're laughing about me, like, oh, look at this lost person and stuff. And I like what I try to do is always like because the point is like I don't want to say it in this way, but like my survival, like how I said, like is only
Depends on that.
only
Absolutely. I'm the same way. That's why I can walk away. For them, it's like a hobby. For them, it's like something cool to do. Not for me. And just so you know, I'm going to share this with you. This has actually been cool for the 14th. Share screen. Okay. Sorry about that. Yeah. Okay.
No, it's fine.
You can see that I took a bunch of candidates over here to public housing. This is actually, they're planning on knocking down these homes right here. That's Fulton Chelsea. So you can see that these are all the different candidates that I had come out and speak for to prevent the demolition of Fulton Chelsea. And the same group of mayoral candidates, right? I'm going to try to bring them out to talk to about this Robert, the Brooks situation, right? Yeah, these are candidates running for mayor of New York City. That's Javen Ross. You can see them on my channel. That's Tabitha Ward. And we're going to also try to storm other issues as well. I also brought them to address the issue here of the corruption at CUNY. Once again, we actually made 10,000 business cards and went to Hunter College, NYU, right? But once again, they see an Asian American giving them a card talking about activism. They think I'm a joke. I'm not real to them. It's the bias, right? The racism is okay as long as it's happening to an Asian American who's irrelevant.
It's so difficult. Like it's so difficult to, like, maybe it's like I don't even, like, I'm so afraid to go back because like to Connecticut, because like I mean they treat me like a white person, and it's so insane. Like the they treat me like a white person, and I cannot, it's eating me up inside, and I don't know even what to do. And
Because they believe, because the thing is that, right, and this is what I say to them, right? I say, do you believe the narrative that they talk about black people, right? Yeah, when they say, we see some fat ass lady inside of a like in the movie Gone with the Wind, right? Yeah, and she's all talking all cheerful with her master, like everything's cool. If you don't believe the narrative that they talk about black people, then why do you believe the narrative that they talk about us, right? Black people watch on the TV, and they learn things about Asian Americans. They think it's true. It's
yeah, I
not. Maybe that'll work. I don't know.
yes, I don't even know how to approach that, right? Like, because like I just like yeah, I just really don't know how to
Well, the white
like, that's
people will
why
back
I've
this bullshit up too, because they are also uninformed. So they'll both gang up on me and say, shut up. You know what I mean? Even though you're a war victim, and neither of them, right? Yeah, both of them may
but that's
have
the thing,
veterans
it's just,
killed raped my mother and grandmother and aunts, right? Yeah. They still, right? They never, they don't think we ever suffered.
yeah, but this is the thing, we it's like we are like in a some we're in a weird place, you know, like, I mean, you I don't know, it's like a house arrest thing, like you're just like you're somehow arrested, being left alone, you get you kind of somehow some access if you like follow the stereotypes, like if you just obey, then like, and the obey part is like different, because to obey to white supremacy culture and system for black and brown people, or like, yeah, means, or no, it means just like in the racism part, maybe like like, oh, like, I don't know, I just don't know,
I've
it's a different
documented
level.
my work. So even if they don't want to talk about it, I've documented it myself. And the fact of the matter is that my body of work, they can't compare with it. I've just shown you some of it, right? We also got I also addressed the accessible distribution signals. I'm the first YouTube. I'm the first person in United States history to have a U.S. presidential debate where one of the candidates answered a question in the Korean language. Even though none of this is recognized, I've documented all of it, and no one can argue with it. So when I show up and they want to say something, I say, okay, who are you helping? You know, I mean, I can even ask them, right? What are you doing for black people? And a lot of times, a lot of these people that try to shut me up, they can't match my body of work. And I've documented all of it, from helping people getting beat down at home with baseball bats, right? To people with disabilities, they right to working with you can see the video footage of, I think, over 40 videos work on wrongful incarcerations alone, with people all over the country. But because the TV doesn't cover my shit, because PBS doesn't cover my shit, you know what I mean? Because NBC or Fox News doesn't cover me, right? They don't. I've had it literally said to my face when I was protesting Cornel West, by the way, right? Yeah. And a lot of people say Cornel West, they think he's legit because he's famous. I was told this in my face. I said I was New York State People's Party coordinator, and an indigenous man from Alaska named Josh Hadley, right? Yeah. They say they care about Palestinians, Cornel West, but he's shitting on indigenous people, elected indigenous people in his own country from Alaska. Not only that, but Jorge Zavala, a disabilities advocate from California. Not only that, right? Yeah. Also a trans person named I forgot her name, but she won the debate against Jill Stein on something called the Free and Equal debate. Jasmine Sherman, also right, canceled by Cornel West. The list of bodies goes on, right? Dario Hunter, right? There's Susan Busher-Lachaki, a historical woman candidate for the Green Party. There's so many people that have been shut aside by the media, and Cornel West covered all of that shit up. And I even had a tenant associate president of public housing willing to back me up in taking on Cornel West. So this makes a lot of people uncomfortable, and they just try to erase me as hard as they can. That's why I mean people like yourself on the ground, right, outside of their control, and then right we can start to bring. Once again, I said I got people from LA, people from second largest market nation, Chicago, Pennsylvania, Texas, Nevada, Arizona. Now someone in Connecticut real soon. I guess yourself, right? Yeah. We cannot count on their media. They say the revolution will
No,
not be
no, no, yeah.
televised. we've got to make our own networks and stop trusting the leadership who is, I can document, right? PSL. I'm not saying PSL is all bad. I'm not saying People's Forum's all bad. Why can't we have a conversation? I would love it if you could talk. Maybe you could talk to the people in the Palestine Liberation Movement and ask them if they would actually go with me to People's Forum and ask for a real conversation.
Oh, like I wouldn't do like okay, wait, how long can I ask, like how long have you been doing the work like with your channel and things?
Sure. Okay, I'll show you right now. I've been active for 25 years. I think that this channel has probably been active for about 4 or 5 years.
Okay.
I have worked from the 2020 election cycle, 2021 election cycle. I had the New York City the third party independent candidate debates and forums. I was the only person opening them up the conversation to outside of the control of the duopoly, and that is actually New York City past candidates interview playlist. Am I sharing this right now? I'm going to share my screen with you. And you can see that this one is from 3 years ago, right? And that is from April 12th, 2021. I can also show you my work with, as in terms of addressing things with Palestine, right here. Before, right, those events popped off, as in terms of the Yang Gang Palestine. Okay.
Yeah.
Here, Jordan Neely talking about that, right? Okay, Palestine. Where's this one? Okay, let's see. Wait, hold up. It's going to be in this other playlist, the Yang stuff. Sorry, give me a second. Queens. Okay, the Queens coordinator, this is also 3 years ago, right, shows how the Queens coordinator was betrayed by the Yang campaign. So this is before the recent blow up, right? I was supporting this shit for a long time, right? You can see them all here with me, but they never really followed up with me. It is what it is, right? Yeah, but I've been, as a Korean American, once again, as a Vietnamese American yourself, we've also suffered from the same manipulation of our governments. Why wouldn't I? You get what I'm saying? By the way, every single coordinator of the Yang Gang was Asian American. Every single one of them was gotten rid of, and nobody talked about it, because it's okay to get rid of for the most prominent Asian American politician in U.S. Current politics, right? To have an all-white staff, but if it was a black person, someone would say something. And I'm asking the black community for help on this, and I can understand it's not their priority. They're dealing with really serious issues: the death of Robert Brooks, right? Jordan Neal. They're dealing with really serious issues. So they're so busy taking care of their own issues, they're not really helping when I can show you myself getting dragged. You've seen other videos of me being grabbed around the neck, right? I was hauled out of Al Sharpton's event when I was protesting Andrew Yang, saying that he betrayed Asian Americans, and he covered it up, and I documented that as well. So
but this is what I mean, like with the collective or community understanding. Like, I mean, especially, I don't know, for split communities like Korean and Vietnamese, I would say, like, yeah, I just
go one way. I help the black community, right? But if they're not going to help back, I'm going to be documenting that, and I'll be telling the truth about that too. I'm not saying they all bad, they're not all good either. There are some out, and I do recognize that they are pioneers in the civil rights movement. They provided right. I don't know any Asian American activists. Is that okay? But once again, the Black Panthers and Malcolm X are huge influences on my own work, right? Is it okay that there's no such thing as the Asian American activist? Okay, it's not.
No, like I just wondered, like I just like yeah, I just yeah, I just wonder, like for my whole political like activism and stuff, I always wondered like what is actually like for like the Asian position, like the normativity, like kind of like what is, if we not focusing on like which kind of people, what kind of, who do we want to liberate, right? Like, I mean,
I think we have to liberate ourselves. Well, it's kind of a mixed thing, but I think that we have to take care of our own selves before we can, right? You can't take care of overseas if you can't take care of home. like you said before, right? If the people, want to have a book club, right? I'm not saying it, right? And then they don't want to actually help homeless people in their own community, but they want to talk about, right, how to solve homelessness overseas. There's it just rings so fake and false. So I understand they can't do everything all the time. So I can understand, like, maybe occasionally, but if they never actually help poor people, then stop trying to pretend you're not about helping poor people.
But even like I met even people who do that, and it's so, and they're still like not like, I don't know. It's just they. So there are a lot of individuals that do it. Like I met in so many different like kind of political spaces, some Asian Germans or Asian people and stuff, and they do for decades like the kind of being part of other people's movement, and that's it.
You know,
Like I
I'll
mean,
be honest with you. Another thing, right? I'm ready to cut poor people off, to tell you the truth, right? Yeah, and I can give you an example. For example, the public housing community, they actually lost their election by the widest margin out of all contested elections in New York City. Fulton Chelsea, even though they're facing imminent eviction, I am very sympathetic to their case. But the fact of the matter is that the wrongful convictions people are much better about actually working on their issues. Much, much better. So are people with disabilities. You know why? Because, like we said at the event, where there's no pain, there's no urgency. While people are being taken care of, while their housing situation is being taken care of, they do not move with the same urgency as people that have suffered from decades of wrongful incarceration, or people that are having real problems with disabilities. Or so the fact of the matter is that I cannot allow the public housing sector to drag down all the other rest of the victims that I'm working with, people that have lost their children, people that are getting beat down, people are facing imminent eviction, which includes people in public housing, I'm sorry to say, right? Yeah. So once again, I don't really care about the people that think exactly like me, even though I'm very excited to find someone like yourself, that we have so many similarities. But I care about the people who show up, because they're the ones who will define the future, and will find a way to make it work. So whatever, right? It's impossible for any two people to share all positions or priorities. It's just impossible, right? And it shouldn't be that way. But once again, the little people who are affected by the system, who are victims of the system, our voices are erased, and instead experts and celebrities are brought in to tell us how to solve our own situation. And we got to reject them and start working together. So I say, trust the people that be with you, not the ones that they give you. So I'm really excited to work with you, and I'm excited to work to we the people. It sounds like a legit organization. Hopefully we hang out tomorrow, get to
it's
meet
not
some.
an organization. It's like from the people, for the people,
As
by the
long as
people.
they're willing to, as long as, right, whoever's there is willing to talk with me and build together and work together, they're part of my coalition. And anybody who shuts me out or doesn't have time for me, fuck them. I'm sorry. Yeah. And once again, public housing, right? I got a lot of love for you. I'm still helping y'all out, dead serious. But y'all get, I cannot carry you. You understand? There's a lot of people getting paid housing justice for all, getting $100,000 salaries to supposedly help you. You get the activists you deserve. You are not investing in activists like myself. You're investing in the fake shit. It, you're letting the fake activists take the money and steal it from me. And you know what? Like, you shouldn't trust me either. But you need to be more aware of what's going on. You need to be getting involved. Otherwise, I cannot help you. I can lead you to the water. It's your job to drink it. Otherwise, I got to go help someone else. I'm not here because I'm a rich guy with extra time. I'm here desperately trying to get justice for myself, which is not acknowledged or addressed. So, other people don't believe I'm a victim because I don't look like a victim, because on TV, right? Yeah, all my people are rich and doing well and earning more than white people. Y'all are, while I'm begging on the train. Are you fucking crazy? I'm begging on the train and I'm rich. Fuck you. I'm begging on the train. I'm to fuck you. Yeah. I don't care. I'll build with anybody who shows up. So that's just real. And thank you for being there with me. And thank you for being an Asian American that has time for me. New York Asian Americans, what's up? I'm still waiting to hear from you. Sorry to vent a little bit. Yeah.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Like I try. Yeah. I want to do the same with like the uh, like East Asian, Southeast Asian community or Viet community. Like, hey, like to get into conversation with like the privilege and the yeah different classes and stuff.
Can you shoot me
Yeah.
your email address after? I mean, then I can actually forward you some databases of Asian American studies programs, elected officials, stuff like that, and maybe even some Asian American organizations.
No, I'm so afraid of like I went to some and then they like I felt like they stabbed me in the back of like
Me
because
too. Oh my goodness. So I
yeah
was
because
hoping they might be more receptive to you than me, because I think I've kind of been no.
like they immediately like like kind of threw me under the bus in a sense of like I'd wanted to highlight some issues within the community and whatever. Then they said like, yeah, come. It's like culture center, right? Like we're solidarity, whatever. And then like I even like shared my issues and whatever, and then what I think it's going wrong and stuff, what we should do with
What
the
do you think
community.
you did that triggered them? What were they mad at?
Yeah, it's a tiny political like if you're just tiny but like tiny radical, like I mean if you go to the deep roots where they have to do self-reflection of like, oh, I'm actually complicit, then they kick you out, of course, like because they know that you're onto them.
They're getting
Yeah,
a lot of money from elected officials to manage our communities and to manage the narrative. You're absolutely right. So
yeah, they want to keep their jobs and stuff. But doesn't like but the thing is still like they have the money to have the spaces, and these spaces influence all the Southeast Asian, East Asian community members. That's why like I just brainstorm right now, okay, should I just go on the street and give like some weird flyers and
so
like
you're blacklisted and blackballed too. Oh wow. It sounds like we ended up in the trash together. Yeah.
yeah, but I don't I just focus on the people who are still indecisive of like I mean I don't know how to say it, but like like to mobilize communities and to even mobilize to build communities is a thing that I think of. It's a very difficult thing of being like very caring and nice and kind, and then like a little bit stricter, and then like more focus on like, hey, here are urgent matters and problems we have to do, and then to not to demand too much, otherwise you lose their motivation, interest, because yeah, it's like everything is like in a trigger bomb, right? It's just
Yeah.
like so
People are
that's
trained
why
to be
like
helpless. You're right. So that they're not ready to take on the fight all of a sudden. You're right about that.
yeah, that's why like I try to like my idea was like, I just can I share a poem?
Okay. Yeah. Sure.
Okay, just try to learn. Even I have to learn for myself to speak like in
Is
front of
this your
people.
poem or is this someone else's?
My poem.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
just did it as frustration to New York. Okay, I don't speak as a friend. Never say I'm poor or I love you or I care about you in New York City. It's labeled immediately as codependency. It is against the law of capitalism. Humanity is only on papers. The only trust is in materialism because you live around haters. Being opportunistic is nature. You come, you serve, unique in the moment, significant in the memories, individuality preserved. Status, appearance, language, the only measurement of not being a fool. Any accent is noise, only white is a voice. 50 minutes rides away, we protest, we rally for justice for Robert Brooks, for a free Palestine, for doctors, hospitals, and nurses, but don't say you're poor. Who wants to look into poverty? Survival is conditional. Full attention, flexing, livelihood, only the chosen one deserves. The world of supremacy, KGB Cold War, entertainment and comedy is a bar. Not activism nor revolution. For imperial certainty, never seek for hope or solution. Who am I to be angry? Just another minority? Complicit fake morality is our society. Cool, cold, kind, pretentious mind. Or coping mechanism? Everyone psychological night. Toxic, where are you? In my gossip, I need you too. Again, never say I love you. Never be real. Unconditional is no one's need, no one's standard. Only self centered greed. That is why war and violence is normalized, indeed. Violation is our new validation. No borders, no nations, but mental slavery, neocolonization, no justice, no peace, in an ignorant masterpiece. Only question remains, is it about you or me? Don't worry, I will leave. Like,
I like that. Yeah, I
like,
appreciate that.
like, just, I think people, like, especially like in our community, we need to learn to articulate, to speak, like, I mean, to phrase like our own internal world, what's actually going on, to be honest to ourselves, to learn what it means to be honest to ourselves and true, and in reality and connected and authentic, disconnected with all like the thing that people, like, I mean, we are conditioned, right? Like people being from the family and like from the countries and whatever, is like very conditioned to develop in a certain way. And in order to break it down, it needs also space for your own, like, doesn't matter if, like, just imagine there's an innocent other person there, right? And with our experiences, or yeah, so, and then you have one imperial like ideology of like, hey, in order to survive you have to do this and that. And then we come and say this, we do the same, we say like, hey, in order for you to understand the world and to survive, you should actually think that way. This makes no sense. We don't give people agency in that sense. We need to give them like freedom of like, hey, I talk my way here. I always feel like I don't want to impose any of my belief and thing on other people. I don't want to, in any kind of strategic way, to manipulate or whatever. I just like, hey, that's how I got to myself, and realize like when I do other people's lives in their standard norms or whatever, I will not survive as a autistic, non-binary person of color and stuff, with my Asian heritage. Like, like, yeah, it otherwise it will freeze my brain. I will have other kind of mental or like health issues if I just follow in a different reality, a different guidance, whatever. So I don't know if other people have the same, like, if are they truly happy and lucky, like, or like, do they ignore all the violence within like this taboo, which whatever capitalism, whatever what they do, can they actually really live with themselves, or they actually do, like, I don't know how they harm themselves, but like, yeah, I just wonder. Um, and for young people especially, I just, like, I don't know how to build community, like maybe spaces of like being creative, spoken word things, write things, share things, listen to things, not devalidate things when they start to say like, oh, I got beaten up. Like when they start to open up, right? Like we cannot just roll our eyes and say like, oh, you don't know where you went through things and stuff. Like it's so difficult, because I met in the community building, I met people, they were saying like, I got beaten up, whatever. And then I looked into it, and then like, okay, so when you say you got beaten up, it means like your mom was threatening with a shoe and like throw it at you. And there are different. I don't want to make hierarchy and stuff, but like, okay, you suffer from this, and you have a voice. You still have like the confidence to speak so strongly about it. But
I
then,
know you got beaten with more than just a shoe. Got
yeah,
beaten
and then
with the stick. You got beaten with the hanger. You got beaten with the belt.
not,
You know what I mean?
yeah,
The shoe. Like I wish I got beat by a shoe. I wish it was
but not
a
all.
floppy ass shoe.
Yes, yes, but this is the difference is like what I see or like what I experienced. I was like the difference was not just like, yeah, I know that you experience much more, but some even didn't, and some have like a voice because like they, um I don't know how to say it, but like usually very violated people, especially also with sexual violence and stuff, like they not like, they're in a state, like they're in a survival state. It's not just, they cannot like easily talk that strong and confident, you know and that
Yeah.
we have to consider that, like that we cannot like demand things that's outside, like we have to understand like like the needs of like our communities and stuff, that we usually really care about their needs, and then like, and I mean, people who, yeah, there are people who talk about this confidential, in a very confident way, to say I just got beaten up by a shoe, and they talk about what violence means, and some have experienced more, but some didn't. That's why they can talk like this, you know. Because they had this little tiny traumatic incidents, and then they had like decades of education that they can be creative and do the things and being perfect in the presentation for the norm and for the society to sell, you know. So that's a like, and the problem is just like like the so usually it's like we have maybe this kind of concept, right? We have like the things that are accepted by society and being they you can sell it very well in society, right? And then we have things that um yeah who have all the like the real part, like the pain, the violence, the emotional, like human uh, uh like like experiences that no one really wants to have. And then we have like the people, our people, who are like in between, because we don't talk. That's why everyone can assume everything. That's why we have people, privileged people, who can exploit the emotions and the pain from others that they didn't have experience, but they had maybe slightly experience, that they can still speak like a true actor, you
Or they
know.
can copy someone else, right? They can
Yeah, or they
copy.
can copy someone else. Yeah. And that's a problem of like, because we don't talk about the real problem in our community, that is our very specific silence. Because it's not about the specific silence that other people maybe have in the sense of like oppression and whatever, because this is a very different history, right? You have pictures, if you look up Grada Quilomba, right? Like Black philosopher, just like explaining in a very short, like everyday racism episode, like there's one small book called Everyday Racism, or like plantation memories. Plantation memories, right? It's like they got a mask, like for slavery and stuff, right? Like people got like a metal mask that they cannot speak and not eat and whatever. So it's like it's a very different thing of silence history when it comes to the Asian history of silence, because silence is sometimes a philosophical way of like respect, and comes also from noble silence with Buddhist part or whatever. So there's like a different culturally thing of like our understanding of silence. And we have to talk about it as a like what, like the problems within the community with that, right? In terms of like, I mean, we have like, oh yeah, we have like the stupid stereotype of like this kung fu thing, and the silence of like transforming pain and stuff. Pain is your
I
friend.
think maybe this part of it as well. But when we take a look at Asian philosophies, the main thing that people know is either Confucianism or Zen, and which is either like follow the rules or cope. And the fact of the matter is that there's a lot of history of book burning, stuff like that, and some of the dissident thought. A lot of times is that I think Asians more realize that the academia has a tie to the establishment, and a lot of the true anarchist or thought, or the true dissident thought, is not really recorded. So
Yeah.
books and stuff have some relevance, but I'm also not only that, but the books have value, right? Which you were mentioning some good books, and I do plan on taking a look at them. But I'm usually slow to pick up books, because also people, what someone brings to the book is also as important as the book itself.
Yes.
If I've never ridden a bike in my life, I could read a book on how to ride a bike. I could even study book after book and be an expert on riding bikes. Never rid a bike, but the first time I get on a bike, fall on my face. You could know all the theory, but doing the stuff, yeah, you need, right? That's why science was invented, to fight rationalism. So
Yes. Yeah. Right. Okay. Yeah, but
so
this
I'll
is
look at those
like,
books,
yeah.
but I also
Yeah.
bring my own thing, right? I'm interfacing with the book, so I'm half of the story. The book's the other half story. We're going to see where that combines, but we have a lot in common, and I'm very excited to meet you. I really look forward to doing a lot more talking and working with you. I hope you. I have a lot more work than what I was able to show you. I could show you some more. I don't know if you want to see some more. I don't know. I don't want to.
Sure.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that. Yeah. I'd love
No,
to.
like yeah, it's like I you had no idea how much I was dying to talk about like Asian things, you know, like I couldn't to talk to no one about these things, like in an understanding of like,
There's a place called You and Me Books. It's in Chinatown. They used to have an open mic. Actually, you read that poem earlier. I was thinking that might be a good place to read your poem again. I'm gonna see if I've contacted them many times. They've never contacted me back. I think they're being threatened by the not-for-profit industrial complex.
For
But
real?
yeah, it's sad. But they're
But you
open.
can still go, just go there, right? They will not
That's
throw you out.
exactly what I just show up. Yeah, and then the thing is that when I'm in the train performing, people say, "Oh, I saw you at You and Me Books." I'm like, "Yeah, that's right." You know what I mean? Like, can't stop me. So that might be a place. Before you leave, maybe they'll have one. I'll try to find that. There's also for Chinese New Year, the largest mobilization of Asian Americans in New York City history is happening in Bensonhurst, Brooklyn. And actually, I'm volunteering there to be a part of. And maybe you want to check that out. I don't know.
Oh,
You
I
might.
have like from years ago. From years ago, I have like a poem from like calling Asian diaspora worldwide for action, like
Okay.
and calling them out as like being complicit and stuff. Yeah.
Um,
No.
you said, I'm sorry. You said calling them out for what?
Being complicit.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of they're deeply complicit with a lot of the bullshit. Yeah. Um, I have these different sections. Some of the sections when I have many playlists that a lot of them didn't make it here. My
Yeah.
public housing advocacy, they're weaker, but you can see me talk to the federal monitors. I also worked at NYCHA.
Yeah.
Now we might differ on something. Here I have Supreme from Wu Tang, right? He's a producer for Wu Tang from Los Angeles. They have Wu Tang has a lot of affiliates, right? Like Sons of Man, stuff
Oh,
like that. Go ahead.
sorry. I remember one person you should have you should. Oh no, yeah, I'm not sure. Like, okay, yeah, it's a there's one Asian American, Blasian American is like black Vietnamese person born raised in West, like a very specific, very
I'd love
traditional
to meet them.
place in Vietnam, and growing up in, I'm not sure where in the US, but like he's super supportive in the community. Like as one of the most marginalized person in the Vietnamese community, he brought diaspora-wide the culture back to the diaspora people because he's rapping in Vietnamese in a very specific dialect, very old dialect. Wait, but yeah, you can. I will send it to you. It's like YouTube. Yeah, I'm not sure. Like he because he's combining Black Lives Matter with like within like the Asian communities and stuff, right? Because of the
I'm really interested in meeting this guy. I do actually have a
very
lot of
very
historic work with black people, including this is actually remember we talked about Black Panthers. This is Shep. I don't know if you heard of Brother Shep, but he's actually probably the most prominent black Panthers member in New York City. So I'll forward you his mailing list and see if you could get on that one. I've been in DC fighting for public housing, stuff like that. And this is me and Eddie Gibbs' office. He's a New York State Assembly member. I've actually hung huge signs off of buildings to try to get issues addressed, right? And you could see me on top of these buildings over here, climbing up them and making huge signs, and thousands of people can see these signs, right? Yeah, when they're hanging off of these buildings.
Yeah.
So, right, maybe
Nice.
you would want to, maybe we could help out some cancer, help out a cause, right? Yeah, we could hang it by the bridge. Yeah, so we can do that. That would be really cool to do before you leave. There's so many other things. The disabilities advocacy stuff. We identified the lack of accessible pedestrian signals on 42nd Street.
Yeah.
We'll hang out tomorrow, but I'm just so happy to link up with another Asian American and to work on these issues, which I'm highly prevented from doing so. So,
yeah. Thank you for the invite. Thank you for the talk. Though.
I'm sorry, what's that?
Like, thank you for the invite and thank you for the talk. Means
yeah.
a lot for
thank
me.
you. I'm really grateful. So shoot me the information about tomorrow's event. I'll stop by, and we'll get to know each other better. Yeah, I have a lot. I'm actually going on to a radio station tonight. That's going to be something called Who's Next Radio, with a male candidate named. He was actually at the event. His name was Von Stephen DeValle. Yeah.
Really? Cool.
Yeah, and then on 14th. Shoot me your email too after this, right? Yeah. If you're okay with that, and I'm going to actually include you in the email with all the male candidates as I try to get them to the Robert Brooks thing. So you're gonna get to see me in action as in terms of trying to get everybody out there. All right,
Yeah, thanks.
that'll be
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, so maybe maybe you can do the same thing with candidates in Connecticut. That would be amazing. Yeah, then
Yeah, I try.
we can coordinate it together and put together candidates across the nation to address the issues that the gatekeepers and the elites don't want us to talk about. Aw, too bad. We're gonna make it happen anyways.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes,
All right.
yes.
So thank you so much. All right. Anything else?
Um, yeah, just try to find the name of like the Vietnamese rapper.
You know,
But yeah,
I don't think people are gonna watch this long, so we'll bring that up later, and we'll
yes,
maybe we'll even contact him and see if we
yes,
can do
definitely.
a live stream with him and talk about the show and have other Asian Americans like I'll try to
Yes.
bring on Michael One from LA, and we'll make it better for this guy so we could get more. By the way, is he from New York or is he from West Coast? Is East Coast or West
I
Coast?
don't, I don't remember. I don't remember.
Let's find out. But maybe we can actually even help him
But
to really
he's
get. Yeah.
immediately communicating. Like he's super cool, down to
Oh,
earth,
really?
very
Or
to the
maybe we can even
people.
help him with his if he could also send me his music. A lot of my videos, shoot you a couple, maybe I don't know if you watched any of them. A lot of them have a lot of music inside of them, and I'd love to actually help him promote his music. And
Yes.
I actually help book artists for shows, and we're actually planning with the wrongfully incarcerated Mutio John Sabru and Vincent Moto plays the drums. He's a producer called Quasimodo. We're actually trying to set up a tour for artists across the country, right? Reverend Keith Gatson plays the piano. I'll shoot you some of that stuff. So maybe you could
Yeah.
set up something really cool. So
Yes,
I think this
please.
is a great beginning.
Okay. Thank you again. Thank you for the stream and everything. And see you tomorrow then. And
Yeah.
I send you all the stuff then.
God bless. All right. Thank you so much. All right. Cool. Have a good one. Okay.
You too. Bye.
Okay. End stream. I'm going to hit leave studio.